It's football season, and that means it's bug season. Heck, who am I kidding? It's always bug season in Texas. And that's why you need Grandeur Pest Solutions in your corner. They're locally owned and operated. They're trained, they're trustworthy, and they have a proven record as they have been in business for almost 10 years. They provide pest control against ants, bed bugs, bees, roaches, fleas, wasps, mosquitoes, rodents, spiders. If it crawls and you don't like it, they're probably going to take care of it for you. Now, they serve all of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they're locally owned. These two guys have been running this business since 2013, and every year they get bigger and bigger. But you know what they still do? They still have great customer service. In fact, if you get a hold of them, they're usually going to have your quote and your job ready to go within 48 hours. That's pretty good. Now, you can call them for a free estimate at 469-809-1769. You can find them online at Grandeur4, that's the number 4, shore.com. You can also find them on Facebook. Just type in Grandeur Pet Solutions, and we are so...
Buck, here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Yeah, here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Yeah, here we go!
Yes, here we go again. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett, intern Noe the Pro. As we're having, hang on, I got a little ear thing. I'm having to wear 2 earbuds so I can hear the broadcast of the game that we're watching tonight. But before we do that, a quick intro. Buddy, how you doing? And why are you drinking?
I'm doing well, buddy. I am drinking Glenlivet.
Hey, buddy.
12-year Scotch, pretty nice and smooth to signify a smooth game for the Cowboys, and pretty good weekend for me in fantasy football. So I'm enjoying life. How about you, buddy? How are you doing? What are you drinking?
I am doing well, celebrating the Cowboy win. Obviously, the next step is the Super Bowl. I'm drinking my Norma Taca. I had a weird fantasy week because I'm just not doing well in our leagues. I'm now kind of hoping to be the first one to go first to worst in both leagues at the same time. I don't know. I would embrace that. Not that I'm going to tank, but the other one, my other leagues, I was doing well and then just kind of petered out. But then last night, I did a fun little pick six. This isn't an ad for them, though we would advertise them. I did a little pick six players for FanDuel and won some money. So amazingly, winning actual cash kind of makes the rest of the fantasy time be perfectly fine for me.
Hey, does the extra earbud affecting your voice? You sound a little different.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I can still understand you. So I guess that's all that matters.
Well, what is it sounding like?
It's not as crisp as normal.
I don't know what the earbuds would do.
Yeah, probably nothing.
I mean, I kind of need to know how this. Well, I mean, I kind of need to know how we say we got 5,000 people watching, so I'd like to. If I'm not sounding like you can't understand me,
I can understand you. It's just not as clear. It sounds like I don't know how to explain it, but it just doesn't sound like your normal voice.
Oh crap! I don't know how to test this now because if it's me, I mean, you sound fine.
Well, yeah, it's not a me problem. It's always your fault. So
the game has started. Ooh, Detroit's in there all blacks. I kind of like that when they wear the helmet like that. But now I got to figure out.
Yeah, so when Detroit does that, I at least like it that they have a lighter helmet.
Yeah.
But again, not a lot of teams can wear their black alternate uniforms, and it actually looks good. I still love Tampa's look. Tampa looks great. Yeah, Detroit's starting on offense now. I'm glad we're doing this happy hour, man. I love that the NFL is doing 2 Monday Night Football games a lot more this season. It seems to be a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, they're doing them a lot more than they've used to. It's amazing, and I'm here for that. I prefer that over all the European games, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I get the NFL just trying to expand the game. That's why they have a game in Brazil. They have a game in Madrid this year. The Ireland game with the Steelers. Germany. So I get it's like what the NFL is doing, and not the NFL, the NBA is doing, NHL with some of the games in Finland. I understand it. You want to expand the game. That's more money, more exposure. I understand it, but yeah, for you and me, as football fans that just grew up with Monday Night Football, having 2 Monday Night Football games is obviously better than one.
And Gibbs goes down the field as the Lions are moving quickly. This is an interesting game because it will tell us, I think, where Tampa and Detroit are, to be fair. Again, we were talking about it, such a weird year. I think we're fully in a parity year. You've also got teams that made interesting decisions in the offseason, like Minnesota. I think now you realize they probably should have went ahead and should have signed Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold is doing well. We'll see him later tonight as Seattle hosts Houston. They're 4-2 in a very competitive NFC West. San Francisco and the Rams are both 5-2. Seattle's 4-2 right now. And then the Cardinals, they're 2-5, but all their losses have been basically heartbreaking. It's not like they had just been blown out every game.
I still in my mind want to equate Atlanta to the West.
Oh, yeah, especially last night, Sunday Night Football, Atlanta and San Francisco. That gave me NFC West vibes growing up as a kid. What do you think about that game? Because we're talking off air, man. To me, that was a prime game for the Falcons to win and establish themselves as contenders in the NFC South, someone that can actually challenge the Buccaneers. And they just let Christian McCaffrey get 200-plus yards, most of it right up the middle, too. I think he got almost half of those yards up the middle.
Yeah.
Atlanta's offense it's good, but it's just inconsistent, and that was just one of their inconsistent games. I don't know what to think of that Falcon team, but they have a prime opportunity to do well and actually make the playoffs. Might not necessarily win the South, but I think they could be a South Division team that gets in as a wild card.
Until I see consistency, but again, you bring up a good point. We could say that about 20 different teams right now. I don't understand why that offense is so inconsistent. It shouldn't be. I still think at some point they might have to turn to Cousins.
And behind the scenes, they were trying to trade quarterback Kirk Cousins, but no one was biting on it. Now, I mean, I could see someone like the Jets needing a quarterback like him. The Raiders would have benefited greatly with someone like Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, but neither one of them, what's the point of trading for a quarterback at that point? Like, you're not doing anything this season. So what's the point of trading?
Yeah, there's really no point. Yeah, because especially with the Jets, there's no weapons right now for Cousins to throw to. There's really not much.
I disagree that. I think that's one of the reasons why I thought Justin Fields was going to be better.
Well, I think right now, because I thought Garrett Wilson got hurt. If I'm not
okay. I thought you meant just like for the year.
Yeah. I mean, Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, those are great targets for the Jets. It's just no one's getting the ball to them consistently. Let me look at the Panther-Jet game. Probably the most boring game over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Garrett Wilson didn't play. Mason Taylor, their rookie tight end, had 3 catches for 31 yards, and Tyler Johnson, one of their receivers, had 60 yards receiving. So, yeah, Garrett Wilson's not playing. Breece Hall is in there, but I mean, if you're a defensive coordinator, you can just gear most of your defensive schemes to stopping Breece Hall. So pretty easy. Oh, touchdown.
Oh, you're ahead of me.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I don't care. No, I mean, it's not like we're watching this game like with a rooting interest.
Okay, now you sound a little low.
I'm trying to find this happy medium.
Perfect.
No echo or anything?
No echo.
Okay.
But the sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown with the touchdown. Gives the Lions an early lead. So Panthers win their 3rd game in a row, but at a cost of quarterback Bryce Young. He'll probably be out for the Bills game next week. That's a pretty big game. Panthers are going to have to really rely on their their running back duo of Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard.
Well, and I would make the case also, if it's a high ankle sprain, unless they have a bye week the next week, he's going to be out for a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's a good point. High ankle sprain has been creeping up again this season, and I'm going to go check to see the Panthers schedule because they played 7 games already this season, so they haven't had a bye yet.
Hey, no echo? Can you hear echo?
No echo. No.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. The Lions run right down or pass down the field, move the ball down the field. I don't know why happy hours, it always starts discombobulated. There's no way we can, just for whatever reason, it's always something. But great.
I always tell you to stop pre-drinking.
Oh, so I should have stopped at 5 this morning instead of starting back up at 5? I'm confused. What is this pre you're thinking of? I don't pre anything.
All gas, no brakes, I see.
All gas, no brakes, son. Ooh, wait, is that
Panthers have a week 14 bye, so yeah, they got a while.
per his and we're just gonna be kind of sprinkling our game thoughts from yesterday, and we'll have our uniform games of the week coming up. But you posted this to chat earlier, right when we were starting to do this. Per his request, the Titans have released Tyler Lockett. He would be, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind Dallas bringing him in. And I know people are going to say, well, Fleorne had a great game against the Jets. Yeah, but he's kind of disappeared since then. Tyler Lockett in the slot and working him and Turpin together and then using, that just diversifies an offense that if I'm the Cowboys, I'm going, okay, we're scoring 50. That's the only way we're going to guarantee wins, and we still might not win every game that we score 50. Run the ball, but stop with this bullshit protecting the defense with your offense. Screw it.
Yeah, I do like. I have so many things to think about in that game yesterday because, yeah, Cowboys won 44-22. Yeah, the offense looked good. Yeah, the defense made some plays. But Washington was so injured. They were without their top 3 receivers. Their top receiver going into the game was Luke McCaffrey. He got hurt during the game. Star quarterback Jaden Daniels hurt his hamstring. It's still a question mark because I know Eberflus went more man-to-man, and it seemed to have more success. But to me, it's still an asterisk. And I don't even know if we'll really get a full picture of how good this defense is next week at Denver.
Why do you say that? I think that's a good test for them.
It'll be, yeah, but Denver's a great team, like great setup, but I'm still not convinced that they have. I'm trying to think of a team that could be a really good challenge for the Cowboys defense just to see how much they've improved.
The Chiefs.
Someone like the Colts or the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Teams like that have really good offenses. I want to see how this change in defensive philosophy by Matt Eberflus to more of a man-to-man and less zone will work against those teams. Because an injured, depleted Washington team, I'm not convinced that it's the solution.
Okay, injury completed at the wide receiver core. Their defense was pretty healthy. Their offensive line was pretty healthy, and Dallas actually got pressure on that offense. They had, I think, 4 sacks. The interception, of course, that was Mariota that threw it. And as soon as he threw it, I was about to, if we'd have been in person, I'd have said pick 6, because that's a Deron Bland special right there. And I'm not saying that them missing the receivers didn't hurt them. I'm just saying, I think what we saw is a philosophical shift offensively and defensively, both in a positive way. Yeah, we're going to do man. We're still going to get burned. It's not like Washington didn't move the ball on them. But also, again, offensively, let's stop worrying about protecting the defense. Let's lean into what we do well, because you run and throw the ball well. Let's lean into what we do well, and let's just outscore teams or hope our defense can do like they did, get a couple of turnovers, get a couple of field goals instead of touchdowns, and go from there.
And the Cowboys have recent history where a really potent offense can create a somewhat decent defense. 2014 and 2016 Cowboys.
I mean, I'd still contend 2021, 2022, 2023 Cowboys. I love what Dan Quinn did, but you're seeing exactly with Washington what's happened when Dan Quinn's offenses doesn't give him big leads, or at least gets out in front where a team has to pass. Dallas had their way with them. And that's how Dan Quinn, everybody wants to talk about Dak and all that. And I love Dan Quinn, and I'm not saying I wouldn't want him back as defensive coordinator, but I kind of called that out the first year. Like, oh yeah, he's great when they have a lead, but if this defense has to really make stops or like get into a low scoring game, this defense usually is going to struggle.
Yeah, and it's the same as playing this season for the Commanders, and really the defense hasn't been that good this season at all. So, but I will say the Cowboys' offense has been pretty good consistently throughout the season. The Bear game excluded, I think they've been pretty good.
And that was still a weird game where, I think if you don't have Lamb going into the game, it's completely different offensively. But losing him 3 plays in, just kind of and that was still when Dak and Pickens were still trying to figure out, each other's game and things. Mayfield, I love Baker Mayfield. You want to be the gritty gutty guy. Don't complain to the referee when somebody brushes your helmet. Like, you can't be both. Either be that gritty gutty quarterback that runs over people or be a Tom Brady. You get to choose.
Oh, yeah, I agree, but I think that's just a veteran maneuver where he's just letting the referee know, hey, watch out for this. So later on in the game, the referee will be paying attention.
Is there no tougher place to play right now than a Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night game in Detroit?
Tell us that 5 years ago, we would have laughed in your face.
5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I mean, even back there in the Barry Sanders, I don't really remember. I feel like all their Monday nights back then would always end up on the road. Maybe I'm wrong. Of course, I can't pretend that I remember every Monday night game from the 90s, but it always felt like his Monday nights were usually on the road.
Oh, I remember the 94 Monday night game at Dallas.
I remember one in Minnesota, and I remember one in Green Bay because it was really, really cold. And that was one of his games where he was like 16 carries for -5 yards.
Yeah. I love Barry Sanders. I thought it was an all-time great. He's at this game tonight. My only complaint was if he had a bad game, it was a real bad game. But I wouldn't really blame it on him necessarily. I just think this is his style and the way Detroit ran their offense. He was bound to have those type of games.
Googly godly. Hello, 19,000 people. How are y'all tonight?
Oh, hey, everybody.
Jeez. Anyway, as Noah was saying, we want to attack certain minority. Oh, wait, what? I'm sorry. We don't need to. Let's see.
How do we have 55,000 now?
Why are we getting Venmo'd 400,000 from DTRUMP? Drump? Who's that? Yesterday was kind of a boring noon red zone. Just a lot of ugly games. Giant.
You know how I know it was boring? Because you didn't message me much.
Yeah, I didn't really have anything to say either. I mean, it wasn't like, sometimes when I don't message you in the afternoon game, it's because Terry's gotten a little sauced and needs a nap.
Because the noon games were really good and you were feeling it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. If I'm enjoying the game, or if Dallas is also playing in the noon game, if I'm enjoying the games, I tend to drink a little bit more and have a little more fun. But like last night or yesterday, I was just kind of chilling, looking at my phone a lot of times. There's some good action, but it was just bad matchups for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, the one we were talking about last week, Miami at Cleveland, it lived up to the hype, and I'm going to lose in one of my fantasy leagues because of the Cleveland defense. They had like 40-something points on me.
How is Mike McDaniels? Are they just not going to fire him till the bye or at the end of the year?
I don't think he makes it to year end. They need to just clean house. I think keep Achane, maybe a couple other players. I like Waddle. Their lineman they picked this year, but everybody else is up for fair game. Like, get rid of everybody. You got to clean house, change the whole culture. You need a disciplinarian. I think they go older veteran head coach that's a disciplinarian that will shape up the locker room, and that will be the thing that makes the Dolphins good, because right now they just look like the worst team. When 2 years ago, Mike McDaniel was the hot coach that everybody wanted. He was the guy who was going to change coaching forever for the next generation, and now he's going to be out of a job and probably go back to being a coordinator, and hopefully he can repair his reputation.
I know they will probably hire this disciplinary. That's usually how that works. Every other. But I think you can also hire someone like a Brian Schottenheimer, who's not really a disciplinarian, but he's also not really a player's coach. I'll admit, I have been very impressed with what he has done as the Cowboys head coach. First off, there hasn't been any, oh my God, what were you thinking calls. And to be fair, I don't know if there has been many opportunities yet for those. But like the players seem to like him, but not like, buddy like him, but like respect him and stuff. So I think you can go with somebody in between Mike McDaniel and say someone like, well, just because he was there, Brian Flores, who's an asshole coach. That's what he was considered. Though, I know people want to say, well, it proves he was right about Tua. Well, no, I do think Tua before the concussions was way different. I think the concussions have completely just neutered Tua.
I don't know. Something about you saying neutered Tua makes me want to laugh. I don't, honestly, I'm just glad he hasn't had a concussion this year. I really have nothing much to say about Tua, and that might be an insult, but I'm not trying to be insulting. It's just he has no one to throw it to. Doesn't really have the time to throw it. He was only sacked twice, but he threw 3 interceptions. He completed 12 passes for 100 yards.
Well, and you cannot have that game after calling out your teammates for being late to meetings, whether that's true or not. You don't get to do that unless you go out and throw for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a win the next week. You don't have that right to chastise your teammates in the media with the season he's having.
Yeah, a season that's not really good for them or the Dolphins. Yeah, I'm looking at that team. Darren Waller getting hurt really affected the offense. I think if he finally found someone he could safely throw it to, and the offense looked better, but nothing about the Dolphins is intimidating.
Tampa Bay with the first big turnover of the game. As I honestly didn't see what was happening. I'm trying to spread the news of the show being up. Hey, there's Mario. Can't trust any TD now versus Tampa, the ultimate fourth quarter team. Ooh, who's the ultimate fourth quarter team right now? Them or Denver? Because, and this is why you said this earlier. I don't know if you were in here earlier, Mario, where you said you don't know if you can trust the Denver offense yet. For 3.5 quarters, I agree with you, but man, they've got that ability. At least they have early. And I kind of remember they were doing this last year as well at the end of the year, where, Bo Nix has that ability to just start, throwing all over the field and catching up a lot of points.
Well, this game was more historic than any game ever, because when someone has been trailing by 18 points with 6 minutes to play, there's 1,602 times this has happened. They've never won. So this was the first time ever some team was down by 18 points.
How far back is that, though? That's not as far back as I'm betting.
Oh, I don't know how far back it is. But
I mean, because think about it. There's 32 teams. They play 17 games, and I know part of that's also 16 games. I mean, that's one of those, it sounds like I bet that's not, 10 years ago?
But I mean, it's a very specific situation where you're down by 18 with 6 minutes left. The percentage of you winning is drastically low. Broncos scored, the final score in that game was 33-32 Broncos. Giants had this game under lock. The Broncos defense looked garbage up until the fourth quarter. Really, the whole game they didn't really look that good. And then finally, the offense just came alive in the fourth, and game-winning field goal. I don't even know what to say. Like, I can't even be mad at Brian Daboll. I'm not even sure what he has to do after that. It was a tough matchup on the road against a really good team in Denver. I don't know if you fire anybody on the defensive side or.
Oh no! Look, I contend, whether it be right, wrong, luck, or whatever, I kind of feel like as long as they continually play well and at least look like they're, going forward with Dart and Cam, really more Dart. Cam's fun, but really it's Jackson Dart that's going to decide it. I think the ball might be safe now.
Yeah. Overall, it was. I mean, Giants. Yeah, there was 19-0 going into the fourth quarter. The Giants were in control. Broncos were kind of hapless on offense. I think I agree with you. As long as they're in these games every week, as long as they don't lose to a team that's viewed as lesser, like as long as they don't lose to Miami or some team of that level or the Jets, I think Daboll and Joe Shane, the GM, will be safe. I think they'll get another year.
Now, in saying that, they are 2-5. Let's look at their schedule. And you again. Well, now, Noe, to be fair, they're 2-5, but they easily could be 4-3. They had the Cowboys beat, lost it. They had the Broncos beat, lost it. They play the Eagles next Sunday, then the Niners, then the Bears, then the Packers, then the Lions. Ooh, then the Patriots. Man, they're okay. They might be gone. I don't think, even if Dart and them are playing well, if you're sitting at 3-8, 3-10, you finish 4-13, I don't think you survive.
They already beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
The 49ers are the most asterisk 5-2 team I've ever seen.
I mean, yes, you can keep saying that, but they still keep winning. And it's not like they're only beating 2 and 5 teams. I mean, you and I both feel that Atlanta, at least talent-wise, whether we agree with the offensive scheme or how Michael Penix Jr. is playing, we both agree that Atlanta's a talented team.
And they went on short rest to LA and beat the Rams. So I can't knock them for that. But, dude, and Robert Saleh should be the assistant coach of the year for what he's done with that defense. He's lost Fred Warner. He's lost Nick Bosa. And they're not losing a step. So good for him. You know, the Bears are 4-2. That's going to be a tough matchup. Packers.
Hell, the Bears have won 4 in a row now, man.
Yeah. All it took was playing the Cowboys, and now they can't lose. Packers. Yeah, you're right, man. Packers, Lions, Patriots. Patriots are 5-2. I think they've won 4 in a row. Drake May's looking like an MVP candidate. Yeah, he's playing well. The interior offensive line for the Patriots all 3 of them must be all pros, because every time I see May drop back, he has to step up, and there's always a beautiful pocket right there for him. So kudos to the Patriots interior offensive line. They're playing really well. He's distributing the ball. He's fearless. I would say one knock on May would be he doesn't slide enough. He needs to stay healthy, because the Patriots could actually have a special season, especially with their schedule. The next 2 opponents are very winnable. They can easily be 7-2, and they can start really legitimately thinking about playoffs this year.
Man, I do not. The Buccaneers on 3rd and long try to wide receiver screen. I am not a big fan of that unless you've got a big wide receiver, especially when you're going up against the Detroit defense that even when they struggle, you know they're going to at least fly to the ball. Hector Guzman says, I'd like to thank Roger Goodell for forcing me to stay up till midnight to find out if my Texans are going to win on a day where I got to wake up early for work. Hey, man, that's, to be fair, well, maybe I keep hitting the wrong one.
Well, now knowing, to be fair,
If this was a normal old school NFL start back in the day, people forget Monday Night Football used to start at 8. Like, you were going to midnight every game, no matter if you're on the East Coast, the West Coast. It was, I mean, we'd have some games. Heck, the famous one you and I always loved, the Bill Parcells beating the Giants first time back as a Cowboy head coach. That game went to like 1 o'clock New York time that year because it was into overtime. It was a late game. So I get it, but at least they're out in Seattle where that feels normal. It's not going to feel like midnight to them. I mean, it will to their bodies, but at least time-wise.
Yeah, I think it'll be 7 o'clock Seattle time. So it'll be just like it'd be like normal Monday Night Football for us, really.
I prefer them doing that than starting one and then having the other one and then trying to do the dual screen, because the way they did it, at least the other night, it's almost like they didn't. Okay, like you can't see it, but like how we look right now, that's how it looked, where it wasn't quite close enough to either game, and so you were kind of like trying to look up. So if you're going to do dual, make it bigger. Nobody remembers picture in picture back in the day. That was such a huge thing when TV started having picture in picture.
I didn't even know when that happened.
You never had picture in picture TV? Or you probably didn't even know. Yeah, it's just you had a TV, and then at the right corner or left corner, you could pull up another channel. At first, there was no sound, and then I'm pretty sure the TV in the living room does this. I can flip the sound between the two. Your TV has picture in picture too. You just don't know it. You've never tried it.
Yeah, I never tried it, obviously.
But yeah, I can remember when that was such a big thing on TV. I got picture in picture, and then you'd never use it because it was annoying to try to follow both.
This weekend was pretty interesting. My favorite game of the whole weekend was probably the first one, and it was the one that no one thought it would be a really good game.
How did no one see that coming? That's Joe Flacco in a nutshell, man.
His whole career, essentially.
I mean, he's going to do this. He's going to look good for a couple games. Then he's going to look bad. And then, I mean, maybe I just keep trying to assign the next Ryan Fitzpatrick. Maybe he's already in our presence. Because, I mean, heck, he's actually technically done it and took teams to the playoffs. That's the one thing Ryan Fitzpatrick never quite could do. He's got enough, he's got the wide receivers, man. I told you this before we started recording. If you look at what's, the path for the Bengals and how the AFC North is falling apart, the Bengals still have very good chance to make a run to get it to win that division because I don't know if winning that division is going to take more than 9 wins.
Yeah, right now the Steelers are leading the AFC North at 4-2. Bengals are second at 3-4, followed by the Browns at 2-5. Don't discount the Browns. Okay, you should really discount the Browns.
Discount the Browns.
If Lamar Jackson gets healthy, I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens go on a second half surge to get to 8 wins at least, which
I
could
just
be.
think their defense is so bad this year, man. They're going to have to play, and I know the Broncos. The Bengals are going to have to play razor thin margins as well. But with the Bengals, you at least have the idea of nobody believes in us anyway. So let's go out there and shock the world. Lamar, when he's healthy, there's still the expectations of the Ravens.
Yeah. Do you think the Ravens fire Zach Orr after the season?
I think if they fire anybody, they're going to clean complete house.
You think that includes John Harbaugh?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to, but if they're going, I think they're going to chalk this up to injuries. I mean, we're talking about Washington's offense. The Ravens' defense has just been absolutely saddled with injuries. I think that's why their defense is as bad as it is.
You and I both had the Ravens making it to Super Bowl 60 this season. Now they're sitting at 1-5. I mean, I almost kind of feel they have to make a drastic change, like you're saying. And I think I had John Harbaugh in my top 15 list of coaches that should be getting fired.
Again, I don't disagree with you, but like if they close out and go 8-9, 7-10, not make the playoffs, I don't think you see a change because again, I think they'll just chalk that up to okay, we had defensive injuries. We couldn't get, Lamar got hurt at the wrong time. Derrick Henry had 2 weird games in a row, but if they collapse and go 3-14 and you can tell they've kind of given up, well then, yeah. And I don't necessarily, and I like John Harbaugh, but I don't necessarily think it'd be necessarily a bad thing to get a new voice in Baltimore.
I think he would actually be a good fit with Miami if that happens.
Oh, I don't know if John Harbaugh coaches again. Once he's gone from the Ravens, I could see him going into the booth, broadcasting or maybe even helping his his brother. I don't know. And maybe I could be wrong. I don't see him coaching anywhere else.
It'd be 18. This is the 18th season with the Ravens. Could see that happening, but he's in his early 60s. He still has a lot of energy. I could still see him coaching at least one more stop. I personally think Miami would be good for him if he has the energy and the want to really change a franchise. That'd be a good spot for him, assuming that the Ravens go on a tailspin and then they want to go in a different direction.
I just don't know if he'd want to take because whatever Miami's about to do is going to have to be a full-on rebuild.
You and I both agree on that one. And I think we both agree on the type of coach that needs to get there.
Well, I disagreed with you a little. I don't think it has to be a hard as nail coach, especially if you're rebuilding. That means you're cleaning out now, see, the Titans, that's a place I could see John Harbaugh going and having immediate success. You've already got what you think is the quarterback in place. The roster's not great, but it's not so far off from, like, it can't be, once you have the quarterback in place, you can fix everything else in a timely manner.
There are good pieces on the Titans. For sure.
And by the way, Mario Scott, you can have Kenneth Murray back. I know he got a sack. Well, actually, I will give him credit. He had his best game as a Cowboy. And maybe he does, what was the, what was the linebacker from the Vikings last year that came to Dallas?
A veteran too.
All-pro. Anyway, he struggled early and everybody was like, oh, he needs to be gone. And then he ended up kind of settling down and having a solid season. Maybe Kenneth Murray does that because this was his best game. But my God, he's been what's been such a big issue with the run game. And again, yes, when Kenny Clark's on the field, they don't run at him and he's grading high. But the problem is everybody else on that defense is still terrible at the run.
Eric Kendricks.
Yeah, Eric Kendricks. We have the worst linebacking core in the NFL. And even if Overshawn comes back, by the way, he posted T-minus 21. So I'm thinking he's coming back after the bye. Even when he's going to be there and he's going to be an impact player, he's not going to completely fix the run defense.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to do.
What would it take? Well, I guess what would it take or what would you be willing to give up to go after a Trey Hendrickson or a Max Crosby type?
Trey Hendrickson is difficult because you know how old he is. He's in his early 30s. that means you're not going to have him at his elite level for too long. So I want to give up something, but not too much.
I mean, Max Crosby's 28, and he's got a lot of wear on him. So I mean, you're not getting.
He has a lot of wear, yeah. So they're comparably physically about the same age.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I would actually give up, because it almost would be like an insult to them, because I would not give up 2 first-round picks and a key player to get those guys.
I wouldn't give up a first-round pick. I'm not going any higher than a third-round pick. Maybe a player or two like Trayvon Diggs, but I don't. I mean, and especially because even if you're getting them for this year, you're not really getting them for this year. You're not winning. Neither one of them is getting the Cowboys to the Super Bowl. It might get them into the first round. Hell, it might even get them into the NFC title game with the right path. But you're not winning the Super Bowl just because you get Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson. So I wouldn't give up anything higher than a third.
I would be happy if we could only give up a third.
I don't think anybody would give up higher than a third unless somebody just panics. Like if Aiden Hutchinson were to go down again for the Lions, maybe they panic, or someone like that. Hector Guzman asked, "What do you think the Jets need to do?" That's the real question. I didn't like the Aaron Glenn hire to begin with, and I think it's proven.
It sounded good on paper just because he's going back to his old team and he had some success with the Lions. Players love him, but it started with the Justin Fields signing. You and I both thought that was a good move. He ends up not being the answer. He's not going to be the quarterback for the Jets long term. I hate to hear that, because I really had hope for him. I really felt that he didn't get a chance with Chicago. I felt that he didn't get enough of a chance with Pittsburgh, because I thought the 4 games he did play and he was actually pretty good. But he looks pretty bad this season with the Jets, and that offense looks horrible.
I think he's just a backup quarterback. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I know he'll always be labeled a bust because of where he was drafted, but he's young enough. He reminds me a lot of Marcus Mariota, where when Mariota, and I know yesterday he sucked, but when Mariota normally has stepped in to the backup role and had to play in a clutch or in a start, he plays really solid. But then for some reason, when you make him the starter, he gets too conservative. And Justin Fields is that way. Justin Fields, I love to watch like Chase Daniel. He has a little quarterback school. And there's a couple other former backup quarterbacks that have these YouTube channels, and they break down the quarterback play each and every week. And he said it best. He goes, Justin Fields is literally playing like his backup, Tyrod Taylor, and he won't make throws down the field. He's always trying to be safe. He goes, at some point, you got to, as a quarterback, go, okay, I'm the starter. They're going to have to trust me. Let's go. And he won't do it. And I think the Jets are going to, for the 45th time, going to have to do a full down rebuild.
Yeah, I like the Mariota comment you made, because he typically was more conservative as a starter. But this year, when he came in as a backup, he actually played well for the Commanders up until the Cowboy game yesterday. I guess it's just the mindset. I guess these guys feel like they don't want to make a mistake, but not trying to make a mistake ends up having you make a mistake. So I think what Fields is just his mindset, because he has a good arm. I've seen him when he's having to rally the Bears back. He was gunning it downfield. He looked very competent. He looked very capable. But yeah, someone's gonna have to unlock it, because the raw talent's there. I just think it's all in his head.
I mean, maybe it's not, though. Maybe we just think it is. Maybe because we've seen flashes again. As I've always joked, if you were to go watch like someone like Babe Laufenberg, who was considered one of the worst quarterbacks and backup quarterbacks in NFL history, but if you were to go outside and throw the ball with him, you'd be like, holy shit, this dude's got a cannon for an arm. And he does for us. But
it's the best analogy for that is the NBA, where a lot of guys say, like, there's a third string center. If you play against him, he will destroy you.
What is it, Scalabrini or Cardinal? I always get them confused. Why
do you get them confused, Terry?
White people, I can't tell them apart. But one of them, literally, I think it's Scalabrini, goes around the nation and will take on people who think that they can beat him, kind of like the old pros versus Joes. And he said the greatest comment, and this is what started this challenge. He said, folks, I'm closer to LeBron than y'all are to me. And everybody's like, no, I could beat you. And then they go out and he's, beating everybody 10-0, 10-0, 10-0. That's the same thing. Justin Fields has tools, but the difference between a backup a good quarterback, a bad quarterback, or whatever is consistency. And he just doesn't have consistency. And so, again, I feel bad for the Jets fans because they're going to have to rebuild again. I mean, even if you find another quarterback, you're still that roster. The defense is good again, and now we can say that for the fourth year in a row. The defense is good enough, but they're just. I don't know what you do in the Jets, man. It just feels like some franchises are just completely snake bit.
Maybe get an offensive-minded head coach and let the defensive coordinator basically be the head.
I was surprised that they went with Glenn because of that, and we talked about that.
Same. Yeah, same here, man. I really thought they were going to go offense just because that was kind of the position of the franchise that really needed the most love. Liam Cohen might have been a good option there. He went going to Jacksonville.
I would have loved to see him and.
Huh?
I would have loved to see Cohen go into the Jets because we're seeing that he's going to need a new quarterback. I think that's obvious. You say the Niners are a week 5-2 or whatever. To me, the Jacksonville's the weakest team with a winning record because they look like crap when they play a good team.
It almost feels like it was a hangover for 2 weeks because they beat the Chiefs. And to me, it was an upset. And so they went 4-1. They had that close loss to Seattle.
And that was a good game.
Not a close loss. They had like a late score.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seattle beat them in Jacksonville right after Jacksonville beat Kansas City. And then, man, that the Rams red zone offense, good Lord. Matthew Stafford and his gray beard got 5 touchdowns in London. They win 35-7. Good statement win for the Rams. Jacksonville, I'm not sure what's wrong with Brian Thomas Jr., their sophomore starting wide receiver. He had a great rookie year, and this year he's having drop passes. He's not the wide receiver one that he was last season. Kudos to Travis Hunter. He got his first touchdown, the number 2 overall draft pick this year.
Dude, Jacksonville's got to figure out what to do with him, though. They're not doing him or their franchise justice by barely playing him on either side. Either say you're a lockdown corner and you'll get 20 snaps a game on receiver, or you're a wide receiver and we'll give you're special, make him the nickelback or something. But this whole kind of playing him here, kind of playing him there, it's just not helping either one of them, in my opinion.
And I think really they need to just focus him on the offensive side because I think that's where they need more help.
I could say that.
I know they traded Tyson Campbell to the Browns for Greg Newsome, but I really think right now the Jaguars need more help on the offensive side. You have an offensive-minded head coach. I think for that quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, this is a make-or-break season for him. He needs some help. Etienne, they've been using him more.
But he's kind of falling off.
He's kind of falling off. I think with the extra wide receiver help in Travis Hunter and more committed focus to the offense, I think that'll be a big key to the Jaguars' success this season.
Mario said it best. They drafted him for the headlines, and then they forgot how to use him. And let's not forget,
great line.
They gave a haul to Cleveland for that pick. That's why dude, you talk about a young coach, I would want that Cleveland job. And I know it's Cleveland. Dude, they're loaded on first-round picks. They've still got a defense that, well, yeah, I'll be a year older, but still going to be good. You step in with the right quarterback and you make a couple draft picks right, and Cleveland is right back in the fold. I still contend that roster is not as bad as and maybe it is the coaching. Maybe Kevin Stefanski's worked miracles, but we're starting to see he can't do it consistently. I don't know. Again, the Deshaun Watson decision is what ruined this franchise. And I'm not even talking about what he did off the field. I'm just talking about he never was the same. I mean, I wonder if that was where he was always headed as his career, or did the off the field issue, mess him up?
I really think the off the field issue messed him up. Because you and I both saw him as a rookie before he got injured. He was sensational. He was a difference maker. He made Houston's offense look very dynamic. And then Massage Gate happened, where he got a little handsy.
A little.
I think all 24 of the cases have been settled.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't think there's a quarterback problem. I think either Dylan Gabriel or Shadur Sanders can turn him around and make him a winner. They need more weapons at wide receiver. I think they found their running back and Kinshawn Judkins. He looks really good.
God, he looked good yesterday. Now, again, who they were playing, but still.
Yeah, I mean, but he's been good all season ever since he's been on the field. I like Harold Fannin and David Njoku at tight end. The offensive line is not what they were, but I think with improvements at wide receiver, they could possibly become a winner again. And it's Kevin Stefanski. He was a more of a running heavy head coach. Like that's his offensive philosophy. He's more of a runner. That's why when they were actually good, you had Chubb getting 100 yards. You had Jerome Ford getting some love too. So Cleveland needs to go back to that more traditional Cleveland football.
I thought the whole reason he was hired was because he was a quarterback whisperer.
But his offensive philosophy is still more run heavy.
Oh, I guess
not as bad as Arthur Smith, but it's still like more percentage.
No, Arthur Smith loves to pass the ball to the sideline, to the sideline, to the sideline, to the sideline, one deep. No, I'm not gonna pretend like I knew what Kevin Stefanski's, but I thought that was remember. I always thank for giving us gold for scraps of a player. Yeah, I mean but what did Houston actually get out of that though? I mean, like, what were the players that they ended up drafting?
I mean, was Stroud one of the results of this?
I think so. That's what I can't remember. But I mean, where are we at with CJ Stroud, who oddly enough, as you and I called it, is having a very third year Dak Prescott year back in 2017, where he's not terrible, but he's not what they thought. And I want to bring that back to you were talking about, and we were talking about Justin Fields and conservative quarterbacks. And I love what Dak said. The first time he met Brian Schottenheimer, he told him, "You've been in the league long enough. It's time to stop worrying about interception." Because that was always our issue with him, even in that great 2015 year that came out of nowhere, or 2016. Wait, was it 2016? 2015. I always get it mixed up. Even after
the rookie year?
Yeah. Even after that great year, 2016, after that great year in 2017, 2018, even 2019 and 2020, well, not 2020, but 2019, he was at times like, dude, throw the ball down the field. That's where he got that reputation. Man, once McCarthy got here and then Brian Schottenheimer, now it's Dak downfield. Like that's the strength of his game. So maybe there is a chance for someone like Justin Fields that you can unlock that. Hey, dude, stop worrying about turnovers. Stop worrying about anything. Just go out there and be the best quarterback you can be.
I think he just needs to be on the same team as Jameis Winston. And I think all things good will happen for him.
Jameis is one I still would contend. I love the argument about it. I still would contend if I said Cincinnati, I'd have traded Jameis before I would have Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I think Jameis Winston. I don't know. I also like him too. I know your love for him, but I think Jameis Winston can really actually be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
I really do too. I genuinely believe that.
It's going to have to be a certain fit, but I really think he can do it because I saw it. I saw him do it. What was it? Was it like the Saints one year? He started 5-2, then got hurt. He was a little bit more conservative. I will admit that, but you saw the winning style of his play. Like he can be a winner in the NFL.
Well, everybody wants to talk about the 30 interceptions, but he also threw 30 touchdowns and 5,000 yards that year. And the Buccaneers were. This is why when people act like Brady walked into this team that was a crappy roster, that Buccaneer team loved Winston, but basically didn't make the playoffs because, hey, if you throw 25 interceptions instead of 30, you probably go, I think that was the last year of 10 and 16. You go 9-7 and make the playoffs. I think Jameis Winston's one of those, like Ryan Fitzpatrick, that can be a quarterback on a bad team because he can kind of give the fans hope. It's going to be fun. You're going to win some. You're going to lose some. He's going to make it enjoyable. The better the team gets, the more I'm not as big on Jameis Winston. Unless you get him in a right offense where they control him and make him more of a play act. Like kind of what that, even though Romo never was that bad interception-wise, but what they did in 2013 and 2014 with Romo, let's not have you throw the ball 35 times. Let's have you throw it 30 times. And you'd be surprised at how much that can change a quarterback.
Yeah, it's a little healthy balance. An over-reliance on some quarterbacks is probably not the best. I always like the healthy balance. There's always going to be a couple of games where you got to just it's a gun show. Like you got to throw 40-plus times. But yeah, for the most part, 30 passes, 30 attempts is the sweet spot for me. Pretty good game so far.
Lions have been in control.
What did you think switching up to college football? I wanted to get your opinion on this because I was looking at the stats. Kentucky dominated Texas stat wise.
Eh,
Why? Why do you? No, I mean it was a sizable difference. I don't know if you looked at the stat. It's pretty bad. What would you say is the reason why UT won that game?
because their defense, and that's why.
Okay.
Yeah, they can. They won the stat battle. But if you're watching the game, if you're thinking the whole time, okay, if the offense will just make a couple plays, Kentucky's not scoring more than 14 points. And to be fair, 10 of that was in the fourth quarter. For a lot of that game, it was just a slog fest of 10-3 Texas. And so again, you can say they dominated. Yeah, but if you watch the game, you knew that if Texas can just figure out how to get over 14 points, they're probably going to win. Now, in saying that, I will say this again: if you're not making a quarterback change or at least opening up quarterback competition, then you're telling me that you're punting till next year, and that's fine. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But that's what you're telling me because Archie Manning is not the guy this year. He wasn't even great against Oklahoma. He made a couple great throws, but he wasn't great against Oklahoma. At one point, Texas special teams guy, I can't think of who it is now, had as many yards against Kentucky as the whole offense of Texas. Now, in saying that, you have to also blame where's the run game? Where's the offensive line? I know the offensive line is young, but you're supposed to be better than this. And again, I go back to Sark's play calling. He's not calling plays like he has a quarterback that's struggling. He's calling plays like he thinks, hey, we're rocking and rolling. He had Archie throwing 27 times, and then they ran for 15 times, and that's not counting the other 11. That was all Archie Manning. So I don't understand what game plan he's seeing to where he's thinking we need to put the game on Archie Manning's shoulders and we're going to win it.
I 100% agree with you on that. If you're up, just run a little bit more, take it off of Arch's hands because it's something's not right there, and maybe they're just young. Okay, you had made that point a couple weeks ago that they're just a young team, and maybe next year, punting till next year, maybe next year it'll be the real big year for the Longhorns. But I didn't watch the game, but I was telling you earlier, I'm looking at Kentucky had 26 first downs to Texas 8.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say, though. A lot of that was that fourth quarter when Kentucky went on 2 long drives. Yeah. Up until that point, and Texas's defense just got wore down because, again, Texas only had 8 first downs. So that Texas defense, but for 2.5 to 3 quarters, Texas was dominating even Kentucky's offense. And give Kentucky credit for finding those plays in the fourth quarter. I'm not saying that those were, but yeah, that's why I'm saying it wasn't as much of a domination if you didn't watch the game.
Hector with the great comment, can't make an arch without going up and immediately going down.
Wow. Mario says
that's going to be a t-shirt.
Mario says what makes no sense is they had time to develop him. And it looks like they did nothing, or this is as far as he can be developed. Again, I know you can make the same case for Peyton and Eli because they played at the same private school. They played against smaller competition and they ended up being good, but it wasn't like Arch tore up high school football. It wasn't like Arch, just made everybody actually on the field go, oh, wow. Where he looked good is at camp when you're not having to do reads and you don't have a pass rush and you not have a helmet on and and there is no doubt about his arm. Like he has a cannon of an arm. And when he is on, he can hit every throw. The problem is A, that's almost an interception. 2 wide receivers running in the same area, never a good thing. A is his accuracy is ass. His pocket presence worse. And he panics. He can run the ball well. Okay, I jokingly say, screw it. Let's just roll out in the wishbone next week because you and I are going to a game here in a couple weeks, and I thoroughly believe Vanderbilt's going to beat Texas at that game because
Diego.
Well, it won't be him. I mean, he'll get enough. It'll be like 14-9. But yeah, I mean, Texas's offense is going to hamstring them the rest of the way, and that's just weird to say.
We had this conversation about Fields and other quarterbacks that when they're starters, they're too conservative, but when they're coming in off the bench or their backups, they're actually more comfortable in gunslinging. I think that might actually apply to Arch, because I remember watching some of his spot appearances last season. He was being more aggressive with the ball. Like he had no fear. He was throwing it downfield. A lot of people were loving it. That's where the whole thing where, hey, we like Arch. We want Arch to start instead of Quinn Ewers. But
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like he's overly conservative right now. He's not doing a lot of check. In fact, that's one of the knocks. Hey, check the ball down more. He is throwing it down the field. He's just missing wide receivers by 400 yards. I mean, it's just that's the biggest thing to me that has been the surprise is how inaccurate he is.
maybe they should do the because this was kind of the thing with Cincinnati back in '87, where and then that following year they just kind of operated their offense in a 2-minute drill the entire game. Maybe because Arch does play well in the 2-minute drill. Like he's getting the ball out. I remember the Ohio State game toward the end when they were trailing.
Yeah.
He had a pretty good drive. So maybe and in Florida too, same thing. He had
even Oklahoma, dude. I will contend nobody will remember it, but that goal line throw that he made when it was 3rd and 7, and he rolls out and he hits Parker Livingstone on the sideline on a dime. Like you had the smallest window to put it in. He did it. You know why? Because he'd rolled out and he wasn't worried about his mechanics. He just threw. He just saw and threw. And I think that's, and we now know why Quinn Ewers was playing last year, even though he was just his body was beat up. And you're seeing, and by the way, I think Quinn Ewers is going to be your next Miami Dolphins starting quarterback. And I'm curious to see how he's going to be fully healthy, because I think people forget how good he really was until he kept getting injured at Texas his 2 years there. So, I think Texas is going to still win most of their games, but I don't think they're going to beat Vandy. Georgia, maybe, because Georgia's not when I say not really good, we're talking about they're not really a top 15 team this year. I don't think Texas can beat A&M other than that defense. If that defense plays like it did against Oklahoma and for most of the game against Kentucky, it will be hard to beat Texas. Because they will, that pass rush was for, like I said, 3.5 quarters, or really 3 quarters, was getting into Kentucky. But you could just see Texas' defense wearing down because they were on the field so much on the road. And that's just it's hard enough for any defense. But when you especially put them on the road, it's so hard for them just to keep answering. But in saying that, Texas got the win. You got to give them credit for that. That had loss written all over it. And they somehow found a way to make a couple plays to get the win.
Now you brought up A&M. Hey, kudos to Bobby Petrino. Close loss for Arkansas, but A&M wins. They're still undefeated. They're ranked 3rd in the country. I'm not still ready to crown them, but they're winning the games. And hey, Elko's doing a great job.
Why do you want to forgive Bobby Petrino, but you won't forgive John Gruden? Talk to me, Noe.
I'm not forgiving Bobby Petrino.
No, I'm just kidding. We both feel like I don't now. I even with that close game, at one point I thought, yeah, he might get the job back. I don't think so. I think Arkansas is going to want a refresh completely. And so, but yeah, it is fun to watch. And man, I was telling you when we were hanging out Saturday recording some stuff, and we had that game on for a minute. I contend Arkansas has got such an underrated uniform.
Yeah, very simple, very clean.
Now, in the mid 2000s, they went the Cardinals look with a lot of their jerseys for a while. They had like a lot of white with the red cuts and all that, and the red with the white cuts. They went away from that and went back to more of just the traditional sleeves. And I don't care. Yes, I'm a Texas fan, but that suey pig on the helmet it's a great look. Like, it is such a cool look.
It is a cool look. It's a cool look.
I guess we're going to start doing we're going to start doing some college best uniform games. There's so many of Arizona State, man. I wish I had pulled pictures. Love the old Sun ASU helmet. I've only seen that in watching old film on them and old film, like I'm a coach, but watching, old video on them. That was such a good look. Oh, speaking of, and this is why we don't trust you, Texas Tech. This is why we don't trust you.
Yeah, Texas Tech is one of many teams this weekend that got upset. They go into Tempe and lose to Arizona State 26-22. I still contend that they're the Big 12 favorite.
Oh, I do too.
But now, BYU is still undefeated in the Big 12. They had a close win at home versus Utah in the
uniform game.
Great uniform game, blue versus red. Battle of the Mormons. BYU ended up winning. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win the Big 12?
BYU.
You think they run the table? They go undefeated?
I think they run the table. I don't think it'll be pretty. I think they'll get drummed in the first round of the playoffs or whenever their first game if they get a bye. I can't remember how they're doing. I think now it's not necessarily a champion gets you a bye. Didn't they change it just right?
Yeah. So the conference champion in the Power 5, so the top 5 conference champions, they get into the playoffs, but it's re-ranked. So top 4 still get a bye, but it not necessarily is going to be a conference champion. So you could definitely see 2 SEC and 2 Big Ten teams get a bye, one being the conference champion, one being an at-large.
Yeah. And the weirder thing to me is each conference, it's different. Some conferences, the conference championship game winner gets in, and in other conferences, it's the season conference championship. I think you just need to do away with conference championships. With as many playoff spots as we have now, we don't need a conference championship game anymore.
Yeah, it'll just be a hard pill to swallow for some fans that love the conference championship. But yeah, I agree with you.
Do fans love the conference championships?
I think a lot of fans do love the conference
I
championship.
think you do if it matters, but if it doesn't matter which team goes to if the playoff team's already decided because they won the championship game. Now you can make the case like in the SEC or Big Ten that second place team that they need a win to get in. But I just say I think the only people that care about them are TV networks and the leagues wanting money. I don't think fans would be that heartbroken if we just got rid of them all much. Yeah, like Mara said, too much money in the championships games. Dr. Pepperville.
Yeah, any decision like this related to business, it's money or power. That's all it really is. Politics, business.
Let's do a quick switch here. Let's talk about NCAA basketball because the NCAA dude came out today and basically made this a passion plea that we need more teams in the tournament because last year I saw teams that didn't get in and it made me sad that they deserved it. And so they're looking at going to 72 or 76. I have not been a big college basketball fan for a while. I used to be 1,000% in it. I used to do like how we do fantasy now with multiples. I would have 40 different brackets. I would have entered all the contests. I had all that, especially the first weekend, man, when you woke up Thursday morning at 9 a.m. with tip off from, Connecticut, 1 seed 16. I got into it all. And then I just kind of got away from it. This ain't going to make me want to go back.
No, it doesn't. I mean, back when we were watching it, though, you had a lot of star players play past their freshman year. Allen Iverson and company. Like it was fun.
Bothered me though. I don't care about that.
I mean, because the reason why I don't watch college basketball as much is because the lack of star power.
Oh, that's actually the thing that always got me to college basketball. I mean, there's stars in college basketball, but it used to be a different game. Maybe that's another part of the issue is the NBA basically just became what college used to be, and that's 3-and-D. College has been doing 3-and-D for 30 years now, and the NBA finally started doing that. To me, I loved college because it was so different.
Yeah. I still like the star power. That to me, that's what drew me in.
Yeah.
For you, it might have been the 3-and-D. For me, it was the star power.
Oh no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't the 3-and-D. In fact, I'm saying that not ruin college basketball, but it's like baseball with home runs. You get tired of seeing 33s. I'm just saying what I loved about college basketball growing up. And even when they went to that era where nobody went college, everybody that was great went to the pros, the Kobe's, the Kelvin Garnett's and all them. What I always loved is you saw different styles. You saw teams like Princeton that ran 47 passes, backdoor layups, and then you saw a UNLV that presses and all. And one of the things that has changed, and it's weird, I never thought this, it's really hard to press in basketball anymore because everybody has figured it out. Like that. That's why you don't see teams doing the 40 minutes of hell or whatever. That was Arkansas, whatever UNLV called it. It's hard to do that now because there's so many athletic players. You can't get a slow moving power forward caught in a trap and him throw the ball away. It's just, to me, it's all college and pro all look the same now.
Which could be a benefit for college players going into the NBA because their games will translate better.
Yeah. It's just, for me as a fan, it's boring.
No, that's fair. To me, it's just boring because, like I said earlier, not that many great college players stay more than the first year. And I don't blame them. Like, if the money's there in the NBA and they'll pay you, yeah, go to the NBA and get developed more because they'll be patient with you, especially if you're a top 5 pick. I'm not going to knock on that. I'm just saying it's not making me really watch NCAA basketball. I still follow it because, you and I are sports junkies.
Oh, yeah.
I'll still follow NBA women's basketball or NBA, not WNBA. Well, I do follow WNBA, but NCAA women's basketball I'll follow just because I want to see who's really good. And like I know UConn, defending champion, they're ranked number 1. They have a really good lineup coming in.
Texas
ranked yeah. On the men's side, Purdue, Braden Smith, they're ranked number 1. Deservedly so. They had a good tournament. They had a good season last year. I could see them winning it all. But again, I didn't expect Florida to win it last year either. But
every time Florida wins, it comes out of nowhere in basketball. I mean, they are a team that shows you can have pockets of success, then go to terrible, and then be good again. You don't have to be one for 20 years and one, or the other. Texas, even when Texas a couple years ago made that great 8 run and really should have beat LSU and gotten to the Final Four. They had like a 18-point lead with 10 minutes left. I just never. I didn't even watch that. I just followed it on ESPN because it's just a boring game. Hector says nobody really plays in the paint anymore. It's all threes. Now, again, it's the numbers. Analytics tell you that it's better to shoot, and technically it's true, but even if you miss more, if you make a certain amount of threes, that's always better than making more twos. It's the same thing in baseball where home runs are now the thing. Throw hard, hit hard. That's all anybody does. That's the one thing I love about football and hockey is because of the physicality, you can't really do that. You can't really do analytics on those two sports because once you get hit in the mouth, it all changes.
100% agree. And like in the NHL and NFL, it's just a copycat league. You see how one team wins a championship and you just try to duplicate that. That's all you really can do. And that's just going to change over time. Their schemes change and schemes, whatever. If the Colts end up winning the Super Bowl this season, people are going to try to copy that.
Broke down quarterbacks.
Yeah, put a broke down quarterback behind a great offensive line, and then you have a great running back as well behind him, and you have a bunch of good 2s and 3 receivers to throw to, and an elite rookie tight end. As long as you have all of that, you'll be good.
Oh, and a very active, if underrated defense.
That's been the description for the Colts defense for, God, how long? Like 10 plus years?
I was going to say 20 since Bob Sanders was there.
Agreed.
Sized and athletic. Yeah. Hey, dude. Jameis Winston to Minnesota.
Did you see him just throwing bombs to Jefferson?
Oh my God!
Oh man!
So
I think you just solved the world's problems.
So if Minnesota doesn't make the playoffs, is Kevin O'Connell gone? Because we're assuming he's the one that said no to the Sam Darnold. Like, no, I can do JJ McCarthy. That's a huge
touchdown, Lions.
Another one, a big one. Oh, hell yeah. I just see it now. Oh, Gibbs to the house, C's to the 40, one man to bed, Alabama. All right, so Buccaneers are going to win this one 35-28. But anyway, seriously though, unless it comes out that the front office was like, no, we don't want to sign him because of the contract, which okay, but if Kevin O'Connell signed off on, hey, I can do this with JJ McCarthy, I think he takes some flack because you're now wasting a great Minnesota roster, not 1 year, not 2 years, but this will be your 3rd year in a row. I think at some point you get questioned on that.
I would agree with you on that because I have praised him for being the quarterback whisperer.
Mm-hmm. I still think he is. I still think he is. I just never thought JJ McCarthy was a good NFL quarterback.
But the problem is, if he's the one that personally said, I want JJ McCarthy, that's a huge problem. And JJ McCarthy doesn't become worthy of that first round pick, then yeah, that is a huge problem.
Especially because you probably could have got him without a first round pick.
Correct. Yeah, there was just that random year where people needed quarterbacks, and then there were 6 available. A very old Michael Penix Jr., a 20-year-old JJ McCarthy, 25-year-old Bo Nix. Like there was these older quarterbacks because of COVID. These quarterbacks stayed longer in college, and because of NIL as well.
Hang on, real quick. Keep that thought. Are you watching the commercials?
I'm not on watching. I'm watching the game right now. Like it's on a commercial break.
Is it saying no? It's not showing you the commercial. Oh, dang it! So you know Dr. Pepperville, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got Bosworth as the sheriff in Dr. Pepperville.
Mm-hmm.
He just did a crossover with the Nissan Heisman campaign where he pulled over the Heisman it was Baker Mayfield, Barry Sanders, the Oklahoma Sooner mascot who's driving, and Brian Bosworth does his hands over his eyes. Of course, he doesn't blink. Love the crossover. It's the multiverse. It's the college football advertising multiverse. We might be talking about Dr. Pepper here in a month or so. We'll just have to see. We're going to be talking about Dr. Pepper here in a month. But anyway, going back to what you're saying, I agree. And I love Kevin O'Connell, and I really don't think he should be fired, but you start having to ask that tough question. And if they wanted to fire him or trade him to Dallas as offensive coordinator, I would not turn that down.
As offensive coordinator, okay.
We were talking about this earlier. Going back to Dallas again, if you're now just joining us, to 16,000 people. Holy crap! We haven't done these in a while. I can't remember what the numbers were, but that's nice.
I thought 8,000 was our normal turnout.
Yeah, I think so. Well, when we did the red zone, we had 8,000, but we had some highs, and that was like a 5.5 hour broadcast. Of course, the Super Bowl got bigger, but that's a little different. But anyway,
and the Super Bowl, you and I thought we were going to get maybe 200 people.
Because I thought, people are going to be sitting around and, watching it at Super Bowl parties. I forget that there's so many miserable, sad people like in our chat right now. I'm not going to name any names, Mario. But, just kidding. But, honestly, let's evaluate Brian Schottenheimer. I think legitimately for what he's done. And again, he did, other than, he understands the situation. He didn't have anything to do with his defense. I think he's got a B+ so far.
They're 3-1. There's an argument to be made that they could be better if their defense was better. Now, is it the players or is the scheme? If it's a scheme, then it's the defensive coordinator. You and I and a lot of people thought hiring Matt Eberflus was a great move. So far, it hasn't been. But I say give him the whole season.
Well, and I will say this.
He's already willing to change his philosophy. I like that part. Coach is willing to change, a la.
Mike Evans might have just died.
Oh, he's hurt. Oh, I see him. He's the one on the ground?
Yeah. Mario says, hanging out with you guys, sitting in Hooters, fun Super Bowl for me. Hey, man, we love you too.
Man, thanks, dude.
You
just said that mean thing to Mario too.
You want to bring some of those Hooters up to the studio? Hey, Mario Scott, you can drive up to the studio are you in Memphis or Nashville? You can drive up to the studio anytime and hang out.
So I was thinking about Kellen Moore, Eagles coordinator last season, changing his philosophy to more run heavy, and then leads the Eagles to a Super Bowl. But speaking of Memphis, big upset in college football. They lose to, I think, UAB. Let's see the catch. Oh, those knees.
Yeah. Is it knee? I thought maybe not. I was thinking maybe he knocked himself out.
Oh, I just saw his knees bounce off the turf.
Hang on, let's see.
I'll look at his head. You look at his leg.
I think that's just I think it's a full body jolt. Like the knees hitting just jolted his body. Like his Deshaun Watson would love to rub his spine.
Oh, really? Too soon.
That should be a catch.
Oh, man. Yeah, he is. I'm glad he's sitting up. He'll definitely be able to get up. I think his knees might be sore, but not broken.
Yeah, I think this more of his body just took you know how it is when you land on your tailbone just right, and it your teeth chatter, which is why I know he's always saying people, hey, wear your mouth guards. I need to get you to cut an ad for Newer Guard mouth guard.
It'll just be an old angry man complaining about these young whippersnappers trying to be cool and tough and having their mouth guard flipping and flopping around.
Flippity floppity.
Okay, so Mario, I got a question for you if you want to respond. What's good at Hooters now? Because I think years ago when I went, the only thing I liked were the ice cold beer, which is still pristine. I liked their fried pickles, and I like their wings. What did you have that day at Hooters?
I never liked their wings. I like their burger. Again, I haven't eaten there in.
It's been a while for me too.
Yeah, I can honestly tell you the exact day we were doing. I had done a broadcast at Texas Stadium, a 10 a.m. game, playoffs, high school playoffs. This is back when I did play by play. I had done a 10 a.m. game, a 2 p.m. game, and then we were staying the next night to do 2 more. And so we just went to Hooters and ate. That was in 2005. That's the last time I ate at Hooters. Did not like the wings. Loved the cheeseburger at the time, and their fries were really, really good. Hector's response to what is Mario like?
So the thing is, I don't know what Hooters he went to, but the ones around here, they're very for the name of Hooters, they have a false advertisement. Let's just say that.
all white, no butt. I'm just saying.
All gas, no brakes.
If you want to go to what was the sports bar we went to down in Austin when the rain out and we watched the soccer
bikinis.
So was that the name of it? Bikinis? There used to be one up here in Plano too.
Yeah, the one over there is better because they have a lot of UT alumni working there. So
was it really named Bikinis? I don't know why I thought it was named a sports name. But
one of the best burgers I've ever had.
And they were so awesome to us. So what it was is intern Noah and I and the ex and a friend went down to Schlitterbahn, and then deadly floods that we knew nothing about in San Antonio. We're having a great time at 3 a.m. at the Alamo, and the cops asking us to leave. And apparently outside the loop, it was a terrible flood. We didn't know nothing about it. So we ended up having to stay, or we didn't have to, but we decided to stay an extra day. So we go to the sports bar in Austin because we were staying in Austin the next night. We go to the sports bar in Austin, and we got there at the perfect time. Now, this sports bar is one of those that you had all these TVs, but you could reserve a couch in front of a big screen. And since it was in May, there wasn't a lot of people there, so we're watching the soccer, and I remember it was a controversial game. But anyway, and the food was amazing. The women were beautiful, but also, don't you remember, we got to see one of the Lady Longhorns who had just clinched a College World Series, their first College World Series advancement, and they were there to watch her sister, who was playing like for Oregon, trying to do the same thing. And it was real cool because we were there and they were all excited and stuff. But anyway.
All right, Mario responded. He started with the side fries. Then he said, I usually get a real appetizer like fried pickles or mozzarella sticks. Then baked wings. I hated the breaded wings.
Thank you, Mario. That was actually my whole problem with Hooters was I don't like breaded wings from them. And again, we're talking 20 years. By the way, man, Mario does need to hang out with us. That's kind of the stuff we eat.
Yeah, because you love the potato skins.
I love potato skins. I love mozzarella sticks. Mozzarella sticks. I mean, we keep some in the freezer at all times to warm up because that's a great dude, man. Buccaneers are not looking good tonight offensively. So they'll throw for 400 in the second half. That's the way they work.
It's so early right now. They're just having a bad start, but I don't expect them to continue this the whole game. Especially with all the line injuries. Their whole secondary is basically gone right now. They don't have Terrion Arnold. They don't have Brian Branch. They don't have Kirby Joseph. And there's another secondary player that is injured as well. So, again, same issue the Lions had last year. They just have so many defensive injuries. I'm glad Aiden Hutchinson's still healthy, though. I kind of like the uniform game, but I still don't like the all-black look for the Lions. But I do like they have the light helmet.
If they're going to wear this helmet, I like the all black. We even talked about that when we were doing our show Saturday. By the way, be looking for that coming out Thanksgiving show. We will probably release it the week before Thanksgiving. Heck, we might have 2 shows. We had about 3 hours worth of recording. I'm about to start editing it down. We got more shorts coming soon, more Hall of Good or Hall of Fame. We did a couple one game wonders. We'll throw those in as well.
Let's see here. I want to talk about my propensity to pick players in college football that are clear Heisman Trophy candidates. And then they proceed to crap the bed.
You mean Carson Beck, Josh Hoover, Archie Manning?
Hoover was on that route, and then he had a derpy game, and so I'm done with him. But he did have a good job, or he did a good job. He had a good game over the weekend. He did it for 3 touchdowns. My latest one was Carson Beck, quarterback for Miami, and then he hosts Louisville on a Friday night and proceeds to throw 4 interceptions. Miami gets their first loss, and they lose to Louisville at home, 24-21. So now I don't know what to think of Miami, because Miami was that team. I was like, okay, they looked the most impressive, but now I have to think of Ole Miss losing is another team. I didn't think Chambliss was a Heisman Trophy candidate, but Ole Miss was looking pretty good. They had a respectable road loss to Georgia. What was this final score? 43-35, but they did end up allowing the final 17 points of the game in the fourth quarter. It's one of those Kiffin losses that you expect every year, but I think, to me, the Ole Miss is a little bit different this year. I think they're a little bit better. I think it's the best Ole Miss team that Kiffin has had.
I think they make the playoffs.
I think they make the playoffs too. This is their first loss of the season. They might have one more loss before season end, but for me, in the SEC, a 2-loss team like them is good enough to make the playoffs.
Oh, Mike Evans being carted off.
I think that might be precautionary. He might have just banged his head.
I don't know.
I'm hoping his legs are okay.
They're doing like all the guys are walking up to him, and he looks defeated.
Yeah. Let's see, what else did I see in college football?
Yeah, good call, Mario. First off, thank you for saying that the shorts have been good. We appreciate that. It's just been hard finding consistent with all the high school stuff, and then you post something, and then you not TikTok, but YouTube pulls it down. Like we keep joking about it, but we had this really big NFL preview show that was, I think, our best NFL preview show we've done since we've started doing these. And it gets, we got a fumble. Wow.
Hector, I guess, is ahead of me because I'm just now seeing the fumble. Okay.
I'm watching via the Roku and ESPN app, but I'm also, even though that's wireless and I'm running internet for the show through a different computer, I do think it matters a little bit. Also, of course, today with AWS weird stuff going on that affected my wife's job. She had to come home and work late because the cloud server went down. I wanted to do some more FanDuel. I couldn't today because it was down. And then earlier it kept telling us, in fact, my Restream studio still looks weird compared to where it normally is because some of their stuff isn't available.
And for me, my New York Times app was crapping out. I couldn't do my connections. I had to use the web browser like some commoner.
What's connections?
It's just one of those mind games you can play. It's kind of popular. Kind of like, have you heard of Sudoku?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like one of those games, but it's basically where it's 16 words. There's groups of 4. So there's 4 words. You have to group them they're related to each other for some reason. One of them is going to be very easy. One of them is going to be very hard, and then there's the other 2. So you just have to figure out what the relationship is between a group of 4 words.
I got you.
Yeah.
Hector, what are you doing now? Hector worked for me a little bit back at Lone Star Gridiron.
Oh, very sorry, Hector. He must have been speaking from current experience, he's a tyrant.
I wasn't his boss. They're calling Mike Evans out, concussion /shoulder. So Mike Evans is an interesting case study.
He's a Hall of Famer, not a Hall of Very Good. I already know where you're going with this.
I mean, is he? He's Frank.
Yes. This is the Derek Mason argument, except Mike Evans has a Super Bowl.
I think Derek Mason was more of an impactful receiver than Mike Evans was.
Man, get out of here. Mike Evans he is still a very impactful receiver.
No, I like Mike Evans. And Mike Evans, I still contend Mike Evans is why Johnny Manziel even existed in college. I'm not knocking him as a career player. I mean, he's had a very good career, but again, he's one of those that he literally never led any stat. He's never led a stat outside of targets. and first downs. Oh, I'm sorry. In 2023. Oh no, that was A&M. Wait, what is this? Why am I on this college stuff? Oh wait, no, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry. He led 1 year in touchdowns. He's been an all-pro.
I just like his consistency. That's all I want out of a player.
But
And he,
see, Hall of Fame isn't supposed to be about just consistency. Like you need to be one of the. I still believe a Hall of Fame player should be when you look at his era, you call him one of the best, not one of the consistents, one of the best. That's why I don't think Frank Gore should get in the Hall of Fame, even though he's been extremely consistent. But that's all he was, extremely consistent.
he had 16,000 rushing yards, and you're telling me he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame?
Where was
Terry Ray Bennett?
You're looking at too much on stats on that kind of stuff, brother.
Stats matter.
Stats matter to an extent.
Look, man, Mike Evans has had 1,500 yard seasons, 1,300 yard seasons. He has almost 13,000 receiving yards for his career. He has a Super Bowl. He has over 100 touchdowns. I'm sorry, dude. There's no way he might not be a first ballot. He should be, but he's definitely in the Hall of Fame.
And I want to make this point. If they get in, I'm fine with that. I don't hate it, but let's go Frank Gore. Yeah, that's great. 16,000. One time all pro, and that was second team. Never another all pro. Never led the league in rushing. Never led the league in touchdowns. Never led the league in carries. Never led the league in anything. That's not a great player to me. That's a really good, solid player who lasted a long time. And you could also make the case that the last, 6 years of his career, he lasted because he was playing on bad teams.
You know what, though? 2 words. Bryant Young. And he's in the Hall of Fame. If Bryant Young could be in the Hall of Fame, then Frank Gore can be in the Hall of Fame, then Mike Evans can be in the Hall of Fame. Case in point. The defense rest.
Let's look up Bryant Young.
Mike Evans drop.
Bryant Young, who was a 1-time, 2-time, 3-time, 4-time All-Pro, 1-time comeback player of the year. Yeah, Bryant Young, All-Pro.
He was a 1-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler.
Bryant Young.
Yeah, 4-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro.
I'm literally looking at his stats right here.
I'm looking at his stats right here too.
Okay, 1996, All-Pro 1. 1998, All-Pro 2. 1999, All-Pro 2. 2021.
Okay. We're doing the second team All-Pro. Okay.
Yeah, second because there's 2 teams. I think if you make a second team All-Pro, you're considered one of the best of that year. Like you're one of.
I just call that Pro Bowler.
Huh?
I just call that Pro Bowler.
He missed. I don't have a problem if they both get in. I just think that's watering down the Hall of Fame, though. It should be the greats, not hey, they were really solid for 10 years. That's all I'm saying.
And that's fair. I definitely don't want the Hall of Fame to be just watered down, like with, oh, you were a really good hand for 8 to 10 seasons, Hall of Fame. So that part I will agree with you on, but there's no way in my mind that Frank Gore and Mike Evans, they'll be in Canton. There's no doubt about it.
I don't disagree with that. Though I do agree with you about Evan, just because of how wide receivers, it's hard. There's still a logjam at wide receivers. So I could see him. He'll either get in quick or it might take a while. It won't be in between. And I'm pretty sure. Oh, is that interception?
They were acting like it. The players were acting like it was, but the referee just ruled it down.
I think Ty goes to.
Oh, Hector with the comment or the question that you and I have been talking about. Should Sterling Sharp have been in the Hall of Fame this season?
Well, and he's literally the exact opposite. He is a guy that for a short moment was the best wide receiver in football, better than Jerry Rice. He had 1, 2, 3 All-Pros. He was a top 5 MVP for 2 years. I put him with the Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis, if you really look at Terrell Davis's full stretch, yes, 2,000 yards. Yes, Super Bowl MVP. That's awesome. But if I'm not mistaken, I think Ezekiel Elliott actually ended up with better stats than Terrell Davis did. And Ezekiel Elliott will never sniff the Hall of Fame. Won't ever even get brought up as a semifinalist.
Yeah, I think Ezekiel Elliott almost got 9,000 yards rushing. Davis just had this 4 or 5 year window where he was just very dominant, 95 to 98, and then he gets injured. He tries to make a comeback, but he doesn't have that explosiveness that made him the best running back in football for a short period of time.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, he was the best for a short window. Now, that's where you go, okay, so, and this is an individual question. I don't think there's a uniform. How long of that window does it take for you before they become a Hall of Famer? Is it 5 years of greatness, 3 years of greatness? That just all depends individually.
It really does depend individually. You just don't. It's very subjective, which is. I'm looking at Zeke's stats. He had 9,100 yards rushing, 74 touchdowns. Great stats, 9-year career, 14 touchdowns receiving, 2,700 yards receiving. So overall, yards from scrimmage, over 11,000, almost 12,000 yards from scrimmage, 88 touchdowns. Great from 2016 to 2019. Excellent 4 years. One of the best 4-year periods of any running back. And then he was just okay for the next 3, and then he was done after that.
Oh, and he had that major knee injury. I have no problem with Davis being in the Hall of Fame. I have no problem with Sterling Sharp, though I will always point out, as great as Sterling Sharp was, everybody that was a part of the Packers said they don't probably win a Super Bowl with Sterling Sharp because he was just so me heavy that it was, he was the guy that if they would win, but he only had 3 catches for 30 yards and he'd spend the next week pouting.
Terrell Davis had 7,600 yards rushing, 60 overall, almost 9,000 yards from scrimmage, 6 touchdowns combined in a 7-year window. But it was the first 4 years where he was healthy, and then the next 3 he played a combined 9 plus 8. He played 17 games in the next 3 seasons. So, yeah, to your point, yeah, it's really hard to make him a Hall of Famer, but he's been voted in. I do feel some type of way about that because, like, it's if you're gonna put Terrell Davis in, I don't see why you can't put Priest Holmes in. Priest Holmes had a very dominant 3-year period with the Chiefs. Well, 3.5 because halfway through that 4th year he got hurt, but he was on his way to another monster 4th season.
1,000 yards with the Ravens.
Yeah, 1,000 yards was a rookie, I believe, right?
Used him as a completely different way. Baltimore used him as just a standard running back. Just what Baltimore did. The Chiefs used him out of the backfield. Did things that even at Texas they didn't really do with him. Man, people will never understand that you had a running back group in Texas that was Priest Holmes and Ricky Williams, but in that 1 year, the better back was Sean Williams, who was a really good running back for them. That's the team that upset Nebraska in the Big 12 championship game. The year before, they'd went to the Sun Bowl and beat actually North Carolina's and Mac Brown in the Sun Bowl the year before. But yeah, again, if I 100% believe if the Dallas Cowboys had won a Super Bowl in his era, Zeke Elliott would get into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, 100%. He was very good. He was the bell cow for the Cowboys. He was a safety blanket.
I still see him getting in with the veterans because people I always listen to what the players say about players. And you listen to like the players talk about when he was, in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, like there's just nobody else that you wanted to face. Like, I mean, you wanted to face anybody else but him. Like, what's the longtime Philadelphia Eagle defensive end?
Which era we talking about?
Well, he played through both eras. He was there for the 2017, and he was there for, he was there forever. Dadgummit.
Well, Brandon Graham.
No, the other one.
Breaking news. He's actually coming out of retirement officially.
Is it official?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't him. It was the other one. Or maybe defensive tackle. It was a dude that played there.
Oh, yeah. Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, Fletcher Cox. He talked about like, man, I love the hit, but Ezekiel made me not want to hit as much. He's like, he's one of the few players that I'd be like, oh, I'll dive at his legs from here. I'm not going to try to face up on him.
I think Hector's a wrestling fan. He said we need to have football player shoot interviews like how old pro wrestlers do. It's pretty funny.
I mean, that's technically all their interviews are shoots.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, true.
Jared Goff.
The old talking heads.
Oh, by the way, you told me to put this on the run sheet. I don't know what it is. The timeout late second half.
You told me to put that on the run sheet, and I forgot to put it on the run sheet.
I don't remember why I told you to put that on there. Okay.
It must have been for the Cowboy game. You had sent me a South Park gif, and then after that, like 9:00 last night, you told me put on notes timeout late second half. So I'm assuming you meant the Cowboy game.
If it was late, then I would have meant it for that night game.
Well, it was 9:00, so I would assume that was around halftime of the first half, or maybe a little bit after halftime of the first half of the Falcon 49er game. But it was about 9:00 last night.
Yeah, that must have been something with the. It wasn't. It didn't do in the Cowboy game.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it is, but it doesn't do with the Cowboy game. Yeah, I don't know what it was. Well, the Lions are trying to keep Buccaneers in this game as much as possible.
Oh, it's an interception by the Buccaneers.
Speaking of the Buccaneers, Doug Martin tragically passed away. Muscle Hamster had one of the most iconic, like 2 games ever. Never reached that past that. Ended up playing for Oakland, and apparently there might have been a situation where he was breaking into houses or something and died in custody. You got to wonder CTE or drug overdose, or it just, man, it sucks. Because I feel like if you played enough, if you had enough fantasy football teams, or you just got lucky that year, like I did, picked him up right before, like I had that very basic story. All my guys are on buys or hurt. I have nobody else. Okay, let's try Doug Martin, and then boom, he goes off. And he seemed like he was a fun dude to hang around and stuff. Some of the interviews from him and stuff back then. So it just sucks, man. And I showed you that picture on Sports Rehab. It was him, Vincent Jackson, and someone else, and all 3 of them had died. And it's, they were all, playing for the Buccaneers just 10 years ago. It just,
Yeah,
man.
great. Yeah, I mean, there was 2 really good years for Doug Martin. 2012, he had almost 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns.
And even that 2012, it was all like in 3 games.
Yeah, this was fantasy football darling for 2 years. Yeah, I don't know what to say, man. He had a 7-year career, mostly with Tampa. He finished his career with Oakland. Very sad. He had over 5,000 rushing yards. He had over 1,200 yards receiving, 6,500 all-purpose yards. I want to hear more about what happened, but yeah, just the fact that I'm hearing about him breaking into a house and then dying in police custody, it really bothers me. I don't know why. Mainly because I'm older than him, and Doug Martin was only 36 when he passed away. So I don't know. It just brings life into perspective.
All right, but at least on my channel, it's already happened to some of y'all. The Bucs are about to try a field goal here to end the half, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah. So like you said, the Lions, they're letting the Buccaneers back in this game when the Buccaneers are trying to lose this game, and there's some life right there for Tampa going into the half down only 14-3 when it could have probably been 28-0 if the game was progressing the way it was. So
all right,
I would consider that a win.
Oh, I would too. I'm going to take a quick break. I got to go to the Pooties. I'll be back. Halftime report by intern Noe the Pro. He's going to break down the 3 deep charts for Grambling and Utah State.
All right. Halftime here in Detroit, 14-3 Lions over the Buccaneers. And we didn't talk too much about everything else that went on college football, so I guess I'll do that during the halftime show. A lot of upsets. I was pretty surprised about that. Nebraska, team that's trying to crawl back into football relevancy, they got upset by Minnesota. The quarterback Dylan Raiola got sacked the school record 19 times for the Gophers, and Minnesota gets the upset. They're improved to 5-2 on the season. I mentioned Memphis losing to UAB 31-24. Memphis' first loss of the season. And the interesting part about that is UAB's the interim head coach is Alex Mortensen. He's the son of the late ESPN reporter Chris Mortensen. So pretty emotional win there. I always grew up a fan of watching ESPN like when I was a kid, and Chris Mortensen was one of my favorites. So pretty cool that UAB was able to get the win. They improved to 3-4. Memphis falls to 6-1. Virginia, surprise team of the college football season, number 18 in the country going into week 8. They barely beat Washington State 22-20. They get a safety with about 2:40 left in the game to seal the victory. The Cavaliers go to 6-1. The Cougars, who've been playing pretty solid football the last few weeks, they fall to 3-4. Missouri, coming off a emotional loss to Alabama the week prior, ranked number 16. They win 23-17, double overtime.
It'll take me 30 minutes to get my mic on, so hang on.
Oh, okay. They have a double overtime win against Auburn, a team that every time they lose, it's always competitive, but they just don't have enough firepower on offense to really do anything. But they lost in double overtime.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Jackson Arnold's terrible in the pocket. He has no pocket presence. I liked him out of Denton Ryan. I still think he could be a really good quarterback in college, but there's a reason Oklahoma gave up on him. He just doesn't have a feel in the pocket. And I'm telling you, man, especially in today's NFL or college or even high school where pressure is such key, having pocket presence is almost as big as being able to throw. I mean, you've got to be able to know when the pocket's collapsing, when to step up, when to not, and he just hasn't figured it out yet.
He's the NCAA leader in sacks right now, too. So.
And it's not just – and Auburn does not have the greatest offensive line, but their offensive line is not that bad.
What you would think with a somewhat more solid quarterback, someone that has more pocket presence, Auburn probably could be 6-1 right now.
Why does it feel like Hugh Freeze to Florida?
Especially with his ability to recruit talent, I could definitely see that.
I know a lot of people think Lane Kiffin, but I don't think – I mean, unless they just money whip him, I think he has a better gig at Mississippi than he does than Florida could be. I don't know if you can say the same about Auburn. Auburn's always going to be second fiddle in that state, even when you – I mean, hell, they won a national championship in the last 15 years, but they're still second fiddle in that state. You could have an Alabama-esque run if you were Auburn, and you're still going to be second fiddle in that state. It's the same thing with Texas and A&M. And so I could easily see him going to Florida where you can rule the state in a very football-rich state in Florida as a Florida Gator.
And that's usually the allure of Florida, and that's how they're able to get, even when they're down, they're able to get quality head coaches like Dan Mullen, like at the time, Billy Napier. But yeah, I could see them potentially trying to poach Lane Kiffin or Hugh Freeze.
Oh, my dad asked in the NFL, what did they call the playoff, the game where the two runner-ups played? Wasn't that the playoff bowl?
Call the game where the two runner-ups in the
Yeah,
yeah.
50s. I think it's called, it's a playoff bowl.
I mean, we have a supercomputer. I guess we can just pull up our phones and look, but
I did. It's the playoff bowl.
Oh, well, good
There's
job
also
on you.
called the Burt Bell Bennett Bowl or Benefit Bowl. Burt Bell Bennett. Yeah, it's so funny. I don't know if Dad saw it. Somebody just did and I meant to send it to you. Somebody just did a video on that about how there used to be a third place game, and you want to talk the players about how much they hated that, like hated playing in that game. I mean, what the hell are you playing for? You know.
Unless there's money involved, there's no real reason to play. Well, yeah, while we were gone, I was just going through some of the games. I already mentioned Nebraska losing. I mentioned the UAB one because Chris Mortensen's son was the interim coach.
I didn't even know he was the coach, man.
Yeah. So big,
really awesome for them.
Yeah, awesome. Virginia escapes with the safety to win. I already said Missouri. BYU, we talked about earlier. Notre Dame. Now, I didn't know what Notre Dame team would show up, but they have a really good win against number 20 USC, 34-20. Jeremiah Love, probably a pretty big running back prospect coming up pretty soon in the NFL draft. He gets over 200 yards and a touchdown. The Commodores, Diego with the upset over LSU, 31-24. They're ranked number 10 now. Yeah, this is the best start in 75 years, or 6-1. It's just, I just love the fact that they're doing well. And the Vanderbilt of the Northwestern, they're 5-2. So it's kind of cool seeing these little smart schools doing well this season. Alabama, this is the most Nick Saban Alabama team I've seen, or for the week I've seen this season. 37-20 over Tennessee. They had a long pick six, and they kind of shut down Tennessee's vaunted offense. They allowed over 100 less yards in this game than Tennessee has been averaging for the season.
I will say this: you got to be happy if you're Texas Tech. I think this shows the respect that they have, as they only dropped to 14. I think that's a very good sign. Not only they respect you, but they also understand the Arizona State. Look, Arizona State at home right now is just unbeatable.
And Sam Levitt came back from injury.
Yeah, but I mean, they just find a way to win. All right, here we go. We got to hang on. Let's flip over real quick, because I want to go ahead and bring this up while we still have 14,000 people. It's the most polarizing segment of the week. Uniform games, and what we mean by that is, what is the best uniform game of the week? Now, intern Noe, the pro, the commissioner, explain the rules of the uniform game.
The rules are, this is pretty subjective. At first, the uniform has to look good. Second, it also depends on the opponent you're playing. So do the uniforms complement each other? And number three, the weather or time of day. Mm-hmm. What time of day? Is it sunny? Is it night? That also affects our ranking or our review of the uniforms.
All right, so we're going to start out. First off, we rank them 10 is the best, 1 is the worst. We had no bad ones, bad uniform games. Now, again, I do want to preface that 2 good uniforms can make a bad uniform game. 2 bad uniforms can technically make a good uniform game. No, that's never really happened. I think our number, we had no 10s, no 1s. We had no real bad ones, but I think our best one, our 9th one, is very polarizing. And I get it. Of the Chargers looks, this is probably the weakest one, but if you're only going to roll it out maybe once every couple years, I don't think it's that bad. And then on the fact that the Colts have such a clean look, it's the Chargers and the Colts.
That's just beautiful. They contrast each other, and it's perfect because it was in a dome. That's Terry showing the other. I
didn't mean to. I accidentally double clicked.
Well, you're just giving away some
of the on the ride.
Good job. It's just clean. It's simple. I love almost every look the Chargers have rolled out. And I love the fact that I think Jim Harbaugh does have a say in some of that, because I love what he did at Michigan when he became the head coach there, because he reverted Michigan back to the old school look, which was always the best look. Mm-hmm. And if you go back further, what he did with San Francisco, he made them go back to their older look, and they haven't really diverted from that ever since.
All right, speaking of them, they did throw in their their older look, the one that was before the 94 season, and then in the 94 year, when everybody was doing throwbacks, they petitioned the NFL to allow them to keep these because they were winning in them. And so this is technically the older look, but I like how they yo-yo back. And again, I like that the NFL has embraced what college does, and you have teams wearing different looks each week. I think that's pretty cool.
Night game, red team, white team, gold, black, old NFC West vibes. I love it.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, let's go to I just want to get one more picture. That's when I was trying to pull up earlier that I accidentally double tapped. But there's that one again. I wouldn't want the Chargers to wear this every week by any stretch. I also wish they'd wear their powder blue socks with that. But still, I think for a one-off or once every couple of weeks, a really good look. Now, this is the look you and I really wanted the Giants and the Broncos to do. And I legitimately wish that these teams, and maybe they do more than we realize, but I really wish these teams would have got together and be like, hey, let's, we already wear these looks at times during the year, so let's wear this look together to recreate the great Super Bowl of 1986.
Yeah, this is the picture Tom Jackson in his last game, also Louis Wright, who we talked about in a Hall of Fame, Hall of Very Good Shorts that we recorded. These are their last games. This is the 86th season, one of the greatest seasons in Giants history. Phil Simms, one of the greatest Super Bowl performances by a quarterback ever. Nearly flawless, 22 of 25. Bill Parcells. This is the one time he probably said something good about Phil Simms. This is the look I wanted to see on Sunday, or maybe the Broncos wear the orange jerseys with the helmets. But what we ended up seeing was this.
Wasn't a bad look. It looks good. Giants going with the white pants on the road. Magnificent. That all white with the red. And I love the fact that there's no blue until the helmet. That works for me.
It's a good look. There's nothing wrong with it. On the road against the Broncos, they kind of try to wear the orange jersey, but not the old school orange. I love the end zone, and the end zone is another factor for me that puts them over the top.
All right, let's go to, hang on, let me pull up here. The next one, simple, classic, Chiefs, Raiders. I do like when the Raiders wear their old numerals, the silver look with the white pants on the road against the Chiefs. They've done that a couple times, but this is still a great look.
Like you said, simple and classic. And sunny day. I especially love the night games they have in Kansas City, where it's
I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, the Raiders at the Chiefs.
Stay focused.
Yeah, I will always love this look.
I know a lot of people don't like the Washington look, though. I still think most people just are judging it by the name. I love everything about this cowboy look, though. I wish on the shoulder they would go with a true double star. We actually talked about that on the Thanksgiving show we did Saturday. I really wish they would just go with that the 1994 double star white jersey with the white pants and the white helmets. I think that would be perfect.
I ranked this a lot higher only because I knew you were going to say something if I didn't. I think I'm more of a traditionalist with the Cowboys uniforms, but I will say this does look good. With a slight tweak, I would really love this look.
Again, I as long as this isn't their full-time look. What are you looking around for?
I was adjusting. Sorry.
That was so funny. No, from my side, and if anybody saw it on the camera, it looked like you were looking around the photo. All right, let's go to this one. This is one that, when you first listed it, I was like, I don't know, man. But you know what? It kind of works.
The gloomy day in London kind of helped me with this. It kind of helped. I wish the Rams wore white pants, but I still like the look overall. I think they mesh well together. I think the colors contrast enough. That Jaguars helmet is chef's kiss. And yeah, I love that. I wish the Jaguars played as good as that helmet looks.
No shit. All right, let's go to the next one.
I love that the Titans didn't wear the baby blue pants with this because I love the dark helmet. Baby blue jersey is fine. I kind of wish they just wore the white, but it contrasts pretty well with the Patriots look.
Hector Guzman said that San Diego or LA Chargers was Savannah Bananas ass jersey. I liked it. I liked it. Mario, what did you think of the Titans look? Mario, do you like the Titans look? If you're still with us, Mario's a Titans fan. I feel like they're almost there, but they're not quite there with their look. I wish there was a couple things they'd do different.
You know what? I almost had this as a.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No.
I almost had that as a bad look, but then more I thought about it. I love the Bears end zone now. I think they've committed to just putting color in that end zone. Because for years past, they just had the word Chicago, and it was just a green end zone, just like the grass. And I always hated that. I hate when the Packers do it too, especially when they don't do the diagonal stripes. But that's just the traditional Chicago look. Saints, they've kind of rectified our issues with them for the first 2 weeks. They've had good jerseys, good uniforms each week since.
I don't know, man. I don't like their black pants. I do like that there's the fleur-de-lis on them at least. Now they don't look like pajamas. I think that this is a 10 if they're wearing their traditional gold pants.
Oh, like the 06 AFC title game. I think they did wear that. Because 06, it was Bears and Saints in that snow game, and I think they wore the traditional like all white with the.
Wasn't that the Reggie Bush flip?
Yep. Yeah, he had that big run score. Urlacher was chasing him, and that was the last points that New Orleans had. Yeah, I think Chicago went on like a 25-0 run to close out that game and go to the Super Bowl.
It's almost like they were who we thought they were, you know.
We let him off the hook.
Let him off the hook.
So okay, the atmosphere. Look at that crowd. It's a whiteout game, right?
Yes.
I do love the Bengals color scheme, the orange and black. I typically don't like when they wear all white like this, unless it's a night game. And then you're playing Pittsburgh, a rival who's wearing their traditional black top, yellow pants. It just worked well together. That it's such a great contrast at night, and the fans. I mean, it looks like a crowd at Penn State.
No, I thought that they were. It's a great look. Now, of course, if you're from Texas and you know high school football, Grandview Zebras, they wear this look. They have for years the white helmet. It's usually voted as one of the best helmets in high school football. I love that the Bengals do it. I love how they use it with the all whites, no orange on the pants, the black stripes. And then the classic Pittsburgh just makes it look even better. And again, like you said, at night made it even better.
Yep, couldn't agree more. This gives me 2015 divisional round vibes. That great matchup. Aaron Rodgers throws the Hail Mary to send it in overtime. Larry Fitzgerald has the big grab in overtime to end it. That's what this, and then also the 2009 wild card game. Kurt Warner, yeah, the fumble. That was Kurt Warner's last win in the NFL, future Hall of Famer. For some reason, the Packers and Cardinals have some wild matchups in Arizona.
Yeah, and it's only in the last 15 years. Again, that's what you and I talk about this all the time. That's what I love about playoff rivalries is they come and go out of nowhere, just like Dallas and San Francisco. Just you'll have 10 years where they don't see each other, and then they'll see each other in the next, 3 out of the next 5 years. Man, Buccaneers just cannot stop turning the damn ball over.
I should have started the Lions defense, apparently.
Ooh, forward progress. That's one that they can't really.
Well, now we're back from the halftime, third quarter. Tampa Bay trying to muster any kind of offense.
I always love how you'll say things like that. Like I would assume if you're watching our broadcast, it started second half. Oh, we got a flag now, man. This is the I always joke it's going to be Baker Mayfield. He has thrown an interception, but that was a contested interception. And again, we have to understand this is football today, but these are the games that remind you why you can't trust the Buccaneers. And it's for all the talk about people saying, well, I can't trust the Colts because they're in the AFC South. It's not like the NFC South has been wall bangers either. And so you still feel like, as much as I enjoy Baker Mayfield and I like Todd Bowles being successful, you still feel like the ceiling for this team is the divisional round.
Yeah, and history is what we have to go off of because ever since Tom Brady retired in the last 2 seasons, really since Tom Brady retired, I mean that last season he was 8-9, then they were 9-8, 10-7. That's who they are.
Yeah.
That's who they have been. What's to tell me that this year, without some of your top receiving talent, they're 5-1 now, and that's fantastic. But Bucky Irvin's hurt. Now Mike Evans is hurt. Chris Godwin is always hurt. I don't see them. I see them going on a losing streak, still getting to probably 10 wins, but not making it past the divisional round, even if they get out of the wild card round.
Dude, it blows my mind where we're already at in the NFL schedule. I mean, holy crap, the season just flies by now.
I mean, to me, really, I'm looking at the standings. I can't think of a dominant team right now. I can see the Chiefs going on a run because Rashee Rice has returned from his 6-game suspension. But again, it was a shutout loss at home versus the Raiders team that has no identity. And they were without Brock Bowers and they were without Jacoby Myers. All they had was Ashton Genty. So,
well, and the Raiders suck. They made a mistake with Geno.
That too. But I think they would have scored some type of points if either one of those guys were in the lineup.
No, I agree. And Bowers has been hurt now, 4 weeks in a row? Like his sophomore season has been a wash. Mario said, I hate when the Titans wear the Oiler jersey. Well, Hector, if I'm not mistaken, Mario, aren't you originally an Oiler fan? Aren't you from Corpus, Houston area? Anyway, he says, I boycott watching those games, especially when they kept wearing them against the Texans' poor form. As someone on the outside looking in, I kind of like it because of the rivalry, but I think it's poor form how the Adams family has treated that colors and stuff and wouldn't give them up to Houston. I think it's shitty that the NFL didn't force them to. You can joke about what you want and people can talk about Art Modell, but at least when he left Cleveland, he left because he wanted a new stadium, but he wanted Cleveland to have everything left to them so that they could restart. I don't know why they didn't do that with Houston. The Oilers should still be here today. I'm sorry. The Texans' name is fine, but they have the most boring look in football, especially now that they're just an amalgamation of the Browns, the Bears, and the Falcons. I can honestly, I hate their look. I hate their look because it's boring.
Yeah, I hate their look when it's boring. I want to give them a chance because there was a couple of times where they bust out the red helmets. And you and I got a little excited about that. Like if they do the red helmet with the blue jersey, white pants, I think that's a good look. Or just black or blue helmet with all white. There's opportunities to make that boring look somewhat okay. But
I think they need. I would love for them to go.
And Tampa scores a touchdown.
Oh, you're ahead of me too. Oh, beautiful. Oh, what? Oh, is that Sterling Shepard? Oh, no. I don't even know who that is.
That's Johnson, I think.
Oh, it's Johnson. Johnson?
Keyshawn?
Tez
Johnson, yeah.
Jesus Christ, man. Tampa just finds rookie wide receivers, dude. You got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Mario.
He had a big touchdown last week. Baker Mayfield just gunned it to him.
Look at what Mario said. Yes, I'm an Oiler fan. I see them as two separate teams. I accidentally followed them.
Separate but equal.
Hey, sometimes that's the way that works. I really do. I really wish that they would give Houston those colors back because you can make the Texans and just give them that Houston Oiler look, and that'd be perfectly fine. White helmet with a red part of the Texan and then a baby blue part of the Texan, red face mask, baby blue top. Away you go, and you're awesome again.
That would easily be the best looking uniform I've seen all season.
Ooh, what a play by the defender. 14-9 now. This is what, to credit Tampa Bay, this is what they do. We both said, they look like crap in the first half. That means they're probably going to come back in the second half.
And mainly because Detroit didn't just finish them off. They had a chance to finish them off. Like I said, that should have been 28-0 going into half, but it was only 14-3. There was life. And now Tampa is taking advantage of it. They missed a 2-point conversion, but now it's 14-9 Lions.
So I'm going to ask you this. I've asked you now for back-to-back years. And this takes out if they have a run of injuries, something like that doesn't, that you can't really help. If Detroit goes through the season and they finish 12-5, whatever, they get beat in the divisional round, does Campbell's job start getting hot? Because I think it's already getting a little warm.
Not even close. I think his job is almost as safe as Sirianni's, almost as safe as Andy Reid's.
I'm sorry if you're not getting at least to another NFC title game. You're starting to go backward. You're treading water at best and going backwards.
If they continue going backwards, then yeah, maybe. But I think his job is completely safe. I would worry about someone like Tomlin if they don't do well this season with Pittsburgh. John Harbaugh, who we've already talked about with.
I think Tomlin's job is safer than Campbell's as long as Tomlin's around the playoffs. Because Pittsburgh doesn't like firing coaches. They don't want to.
They're benefiting from a pretty weak season for the AFC North.
Well, and to give them credit, they have played well. It's not like this does feel a little different, and maybe it is the Aaron Rodgers. And I know they just got beat by Cincinnati, but dude, that's one of those things. If you actually step back, you can see that coming a mile away. That's just how sports works. But I mean, for the most part, I feel like the Steelers have played better this year than they did last year. Because I know you said, well, Justin Fields played good when he started. He did, but again, it was a very conservative offense. I mean, Dallas beat them because at times Pittsburgh wouldn't go down the field. That's what that Cowboy game is where the George Pickens anger started because he's running wide open down the field multiple times and they're not throwing it to him. And so I don't know. I just feel like the whole thing in Detroit is it's fun still, but it's starting to get okay. We had the most talented or one of the most talented rosters in the league. And again, if injuries happen, it completely changes. But there's no reason why Detroit is not in the NFC title game.
Last season for sure. But to be fair, They did have the defensive injuries. Washington could just run up and down the field on offense. It kind of put pressure on the Detroit offense to score every play or every down. I'm actually going to agree with you in this sense that it's a wide open NFC.
Yes.
Because I've already acknowledged that. San Francisco, they're 5-2, but I've already acknowledged that they're not the strongest 5-2. I would say the Rams, who the 49ers have beat in LA, is a stronger 5-2 team. Tampa, they're 5-1, but they're so injured riddled that I don't see them. I don't see the Panthers catching them or the Falcons, but I see them winning the division, not making it out of the wild card round. I see the Packers somehow figuring out whatever the heck's wrong with their offense. I think they'll pick it up toward the end of the season. Micah Parsons is already starting to pick it up. He had 2-3 sacks yesterday.
Yeah, he was. Oh, by the way, real quick, Seattle's up 2-1 in the top of the third over Toronto in Game 7. No, Parsons. Us as Cowboy fans, we've seen that Parsons. He dominated. He dominated him to the point where they were, even at times he wasn't affecting the play. He was, because they had 3 guys on him. And by the way, Hector Guzman, I tell you, Noe, the Houston fans love that third alternative that you're not a fan of. And I don't either. I don't like it, but they love it. That's what they want. They want that look full time.
Maybe because the meaning behind it, but
yeah, it's 100% the meaning.
The look itself is trash. I'm sorry. The meaning behind it is good, but they could have. I wish the meaning behind it matched the look. Then I would be like all for it. That should be their permanent uniform, but it just doesn't look good. I'm sorry. No one outside of Houston would have. No one outside of Houston, huh?
Breaking news. Intern Noah the Pro says Houston is trash. Houston is trash. More details at 10:35.
Continuing my look of the NFC standings. NFC North, Green Bay, like I said, if they can figure out their offense, they'll be the legitimate title contender in the NFC. Detroit is Detroit. Let's see what they do in the playoffs. I think they will get to the playoffs. Chicago, great story so far, but they're already having issues with the quarterback and center exchange from a guy, Drew Dahlman, who was a Pro Bowler with the Falcons, who I think is a really solid center, and him and Caleb Williams are having issues.
Yeah, let's see if that goes more than I mean, that's just been a game thing. I don't think that's been something that's been a year. It's not like when Andre Garrard, for some reason, just lost the ability to snap the ball for 3 years.
Yeah. I used to like Garrard too.
Really
solid for the Cowboys.
He got back better with that, but yeah, that was just a weird and it was funny too because in some of their most successful years, 07 and 09. Yeah. I think Chicago's a pretty salty team. Again, it's going to be one of those. I don't want to go into Chicago in January when it's 25 degrees and you have to win a game there. And DeAndre Swift looked back last week. I had been, or Sunday, I should say. Or technically, I guess it is technically last week with it, but he looked good yesterday. And again, I know the Saints aren't the greatest team, but I mean, they've now won 4 in a row. Yeah, you're right, though. Wait.
You okay?
Yeah, my studio, one of my things got one of those. I have 2 studios. I have one that's on the big screen or the big one. Then I have the one that I can do stuff on my laptop. And for some reason, it lost connection. I don't know but the whole didn't. So everybody's okay. Anyway.
Donald Denton?
You
say Donald Denton?
No, I didn't say anything about Donald Denton.
I thought you said Donald Denton.
No, I was saying the browser that I was using on my laptop to do like the commercials and stuff, or the any kind of like when I was doing the pictures, it went down, so I had to reload it.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I'm over on the NFL. I'm in the NFL standings too, as it's 14-9 here still in the game. We're gonna go probably about another 45 minutes or so. Let's see. So NFL, I mean NFC, you're right. It's so wide open. I mean, again, that's why you can't even Dallas. We can talk about their defense, blah blah blah. But I mean, you can't count them out with that offense. I mean, this could be. Oh. Okay, I thought Gibbs might have got hurt the way he kind of fell there.
Okay.
But I mean,
you can't count the Cowboys out because of their offense, but you can count them out because of their defense. Eagles. You know, are they going to be a passing team this year? Are they going to be a running team? They can't run the ball apparently, but against Minnesota, they had a good passing day. You know, they had a pretty.
Yeah.
It was one of the better games on Sunday. They win 28-22 in Minnesota in the Carson Wentz revenge game, as we see another touchdown by the Lions by Gibbs.
That's the second one. Yeah, look, it was fun to talk about, and hey, could he do it? But Carson Wentz he's done. He's a backup quarterback going forward. That's why I find Minnesota. I know they're gonna go, hey, when JJ's healthy, but I mean, it wasn't outside of one quarter against the Bears. McCarthy looked terrible in his couple starts. If I'm Minnesota, man, I'm kicking the tires on any veteran quarterback that you bring. Like I said, Jameis Winston, somebody like that, Russell Wilson, even. Like I think Russell Wilson under Kevin O'Connell could be perfectly fine with those wide receivers. Especially
the Atlanta Falcons are calling.
Kirk Cousins, you think that's I could see that.
That's a reunion that needs to happen.
It really does, because I don't think Kirk Cousins is done. I truly believe him when he said, in that Dallas game, I hurt my shoulder and my elbow, and I just never was the same.
And I think the coaching staff, the trainers and the coaching staff should have realized that and sat him, because he looked like garbage for the next 4 games, and that took him out of the playoff spot.
Penei Sewell is so fun to watch. You and I were talking about that before we started recording. It's so funny how so many people, when he first got drafted after his first year, were calling him a bust, and now he's maybe the best right tackle in football.
Easily. Like Lane Johnson has held that title for the Eagles for so many years.
He's still so solid.
He's still so solid. It's just because of his age where I would put Penei Sewell right now, as of today, above Lane Johnson.
And because of age, because Penei is so athletic. Like they just showed him on that screen or that swing pass. He knocks the defensive end on his ass and then runs out in front of Gibbs and paves the road for him. That's beautiful offensive line player.
Yeah, just never quitting, not resting on the laurel, aka taking out one player. You got to go for the next. You already got rid of that guy. Let's go ahead and exceed expectations and go to the second level.
And we still got 4,000 in here, man. We appreciate it. Appreciate the comments and stuff. Again, you want to check out all of our YouTube content, whether it be the NFL, high school, or college, go to youtube.com/@L4 Media Company. Also, would love for y'all to join our Patreon. Let me find that. I got to find that. Where did that go? Here we go. We're going to bring back Bad Movies and a Drink. This offseason just got weird, but I really want to bring that back, especially because I want you, and this really doesn't really fall into the Bad Movies and a Drink, but just in pop culture, we started watching The Cowboys on Netflix. We watched the first episode, basically just watched it and kind of gave our thoughts through. I'm going to try to see if I can edit that down into an episode. If so, we might do it per episode, or we might just do one arching thing. So far, and I've only been one episode in, I appreciate how in-depth it is. Like, this is the most in-depth I've seen talking about the Landry stuff. And I know Jeff Pearlman, and I love Jeff Pearlman, and he's the guy that wrote the book Boys Will Be Boys, that a lot of this is taken from. And I do think that he's kind of bitter about that because he got no credit, got no money, none of that. Check his YouTube out. I can't think of that. I think it's Stories from the Press Box. Just type in Jeff Pearlman. He's one of my favorite sports authors. He's wrote about the Cowboys, the 80s Lakers, the 86 Bears. He's wrote anybody. He's the new John Fine. What's his name? John. God dang, he just died recently. Feinbold. Anyway, drinks. Anyway, Jeff Pearlman's the new one. And I know Jeff Pearlman's like, oh, well, this is a Jerry Jones puff piece. At least to the first episode, it isn't. But I also think they're explaining some of the things of, like, with how Jerry fired Landry, how it really wasn't on Jerry. Like, that was Bum Bright basically being like, you've got to fire him. And Jerry, as a dumbass, going, well, I need to go do this face to face. No, he should have just done it on the phone. Now, to be fair, he just still taking crap for that. But him, Tom Landry made it tough for him to be fired at the end. He wouldn't come back to Dallas. He made Jerry Jones come to him. Jerry Jones does do that, and yet Jerry Jones takes all the flack. I do appreciate the show at least explaining that side.
So you need to go ahead and finish the series, because I think Pearlman is kind of right if you keep watching the series.
Well, go ahead and explain.
It's even the bad moments for Jerry Jones, he explains it, and he does it with a smile, and he just comes across like he's a maverick. And like I said, I love that theme music they have throughout the entire series. I'm trying to find it and just listen to it over and over again to get it out of my head. But it's very beautiful. I would say most of the documentary is on the 86 to 95 Cowboys. And then the last episode or two is the one that happens the last 30 years. I'll just leave it.
So can you bring up a moment that you're thinking of where Jerry explains it away like it's a wink and a smile that you think it's not, just so I can have some idea?
Oh, just like any bad trade he's ever made or anything controversial. He doesn't want to give up the GM spot because he likes to be the one that delivers the news. He loves to receive the hate from people. Mm-hmm. He gets off on it, essentially, is what he was saying. That's just one of the glaring examples I remember.
Well, I mean, I don't understand how that makes it a puff piece. He's literally telling you why he does it. Whether we agree,
it still makes him look like a brave and courageous individual.
I mean, whether we like him or not, I mean, this is a guy that had played college football. I mean, it was a pretty good college football player. This isn't a guy that just rode the bench. This guy started on a undefeated Arkansas team that won one of the national championships. But still, he basically had stepped away from football. He became an old man. He bought the team, and he decided he was not only going to be an owner, he was going to be hands-on. Whether we agree or not, that takes some balls. Like, you don't.
It does. No, I will not crap on him for that. He's a wise and sharp businessman. He started in other businesses before he switched into oil and gas. I love the hustle. I love the risks he took. And the one time I went to Canton, Ohio, I went for his Hall of Fame in 2017. I have a lot of respect for what he's done in business and what he did in the NFL for the first 7 years and what he's done to expand the brand. Because he's done a lot of behind the scenes stuff that's helped the NFL grow in popularity. So I'm not gonna crap on him for that. But as a Cowboy fan, the Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 seasons, and there is one reason why, and there's one common factor, and that is the answer.
I just think that
you can do mental gymnastics to explain it any other way, but that is the answer.
That's way too easy. When you put a team out, and we're just going to throw some years out. When you put a team together like 07, which everybody considered one of the best rosters in the NFL. When you put a team out like 2014, everybody considered one of the best rosters in the NFL. 2016, 2021, 2022, 2023. At some point, he's done all he can, or the front office is, not counting just him, but counting Will McClay and others, scouts and things like that. At some point, it's on the players or the coaches at that point. I think my bigger –
who hires those guys?
And they were winning in the regular season.
That's my point. He's the only common denominator.
They were winning in the regular season.
Who cares about regular season if you're not going to do it in the postseason?
If you can't get to the postseason if you don't win in the regular season. I mean, that's the problem.
What's the point if you're not going to have a team that's legitimately good enough to get or be in competition for the Super Bowl?
But didn't everybody feel in 2014, 2016 when they were a number one seed? 2021.
I did in 2016 just because the defense was garbage.
Well, the defense, I mean, that's the biggest. To me, you want to talk about one of the weirdest things over the last 14 years. And this is through multiple defensive coordinators. And I know people go, yeah, but with Dan Quinn, they had the number 3 defense. Again, Green Bay, you saw what really happened. It's this weird thing of not wanting to build the defense, or maybe just that's the one side they don't draft well. Like all their bust for the most part over the last 14 years has been basically defense.
Specifically, Michigan defensive tackles drafted in the first
round.
Well,
I thought Taco was like early second.
No, he was a first.
Was it the first round? I don't know why I thought he was a second rounder. Well, I mean, even Morris Claiborne. I mean, and that's a dude that was considered a can't miss. Like, he is not going to miss. This dude's your lockdown corner for 15 years. And then he had, one good year maybe?
It was his contract year, too. So shocking enough.
Isn't it amazing how that works? Yeah, and again, I'm not, by the way, Hector Guzman says, long live Jerry Jones. Keep up the good work from the Houston Texans fans. I mean, for all the jokes, y'all haven't got any further. And y'all have been around long enough now, and y'all still haven't made it. Again, that's why it's easy to point fingers. Like if Dallas had done the Al Davis Raiders and went to where they are just, 4-12, 10 years in a row, I get it. And I'm not saying Jerry Jones doesn't have fault, but I also think some of the shit that Jerry Jones gets blamed, it's just football. That's just how football works. Like 2014, they did everything right in the Green Bay game. They got a bad call go against them.
They were still going to lose that game. The Packers with one-legged
I
Aaron
think they
Rodgers.
were. I think Dallas wins that game.
They were losing
I
that
think
game,
I
buddy.
think
I think you and I need to rewatch that game. I'm sorry. That Cowboys defense was letting Aaron Rodgers and his one leg gash them. Even if Dez caught that ball, or he did catch that ball, even if the referees agreed with us and Cowboys scored a touchdown, I think Green Bay would have still won that game. It would have been much closer. It would have come to the final second, but Green Bay would have still won that game.
That's one of those I truly disagree with you. I think if Dallas gets that game, the one sack was Jeremy Mincy. Remember old Jeremy Mincy? And again, on that game.
Well, now, Noe, to be fair,
I love him, but if DeMarco Murray doesn't fumble when and it was a bad fumble, it wasn't a great play by the defense. If he doesn't fumble as he's running in, Dallas goes up by 2 scores, or we might not even have to have this conversation.
Possibly, because that could have proceeded where they could have just blitzed Rodgers and maybe they would have got more sacks and created more turnovers. But I remember that defensive line, the pass rush in general for the Cowboys wasn't really good in 2014. So maybe, I don't know, maybe.
I mean, that was the Marcus Lawrence's coming out party was the Lion game where he almost lost it and then he won it. And then he did have a key strip of, I think it was Lacey. But anyway, my point is, and I'm not saying, again, that Jerry Jones isn't to blame on certain things, but I think there are certain times, injury. I think there are certain times when Dallas has put together everything that's right and it didn't work. It doesn't automatically fall that it's his fault.
Well, that's my point. They didn't really put everything right. They just had a good season in spite of like 2014 and 2016 defensive inefficiencies. 2016 was a great year in the sense that the Cowboys just played keep away. They held the ball for roughly 35 minutes a game. They put pressure on opposing teams' offense to score every single drive. And at some point, you just can't do that. And that's how the Cowboys usually won most of the games in 2016.
I guess I just didn't remember. I always thought the 2016 defense was pretty salty. I don't remember them being like 2014 bad or even 2020 bad. I mean, I kind of remember it being a pretty solid defense.
No, not really. I mean, they had a solid defensive coordinator. They had the number one run defense, but it was not as good as you're thinking it was.
They finished as, let's see here.
Let's not use stats after we've talked about Kentucky and Texas, sir. I'm telling you right now, that defense was not that good.
What does not use stats mean to do with Kentucky? And
you're about to look up stats, and I was telling you, I was looking up when we were looking up the Kentucky and UT stats. Stats don't really tell you everything.
No. I don't. I've always said that. I was just curious. I was like, literally can't remember. I mean, what I remember in 2016 was Dak and Zeke taking over the world. I was just looking.
The offense, yeah, it was Dak was mobile. Zeke was finding a lot of lanes to run in that great offensive line. That's really what it was. No one could really do anything to the Cowboys offense because they were able to just move up and down the field because the line was so elite. They had Cole Beasley, which probably at that time was the best third receiver in the NFL, getting clutch third down catches. And then you had Jason Witten being one of the best run blocking tight ends, Des Bryant being one of the best run blocking wide receivers. It was just a perfect team on the offensive side.
Crazy to think that wasn't it. Like Dez was starting to be on the downside that year too.
Yeah, he was going to be on the downside. I don't even think he was 30 years old. He might have been 28 years old. I think he was in his second or third year of that big contract he signed.
It's funny because if he would have got Dak of 3 years later, it would have worked. But early Dak and Dez didn't work because Dez needed you to just throw it up. That's what Romo did so beautifully with Dez, and Dak just wouldn't do that. And then now Dak's a lot different, and it'd work best. And Mario says, and I don't disagree that it puts him in too positive of a light. It was done by Jerry Jones. What did y'all expect? I mean, I know y'all understood that. What did y'all expect though? Like, what do you think Jerry was going to be like? Oh, I suck. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. No, of course he wasn't.
I think you should, let's finish the documentary and then we'll circle back to this. Because I really feel you'll see what we're talking about.
Dude, the helmet on the commercial for The Bucks looks weird when they're going to break. No, I mean, I've read all the reviews. I've seen I know it's a puff piece. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. But you and I have had this Jerry Jones discussion off the air many, many times. I think there are times when, yes, you blame him. What happened with Micah Parsons, with CeeDee Lamb and Dak, and how he's waited too long to sign them and then didn't end up signing Micah Parsons. Absolutely knocks on him. Terrible GMing. The way he didn't figure out this year, like you and I even talked about, especially when Micah Parsons goes the very first press conference in Green Bay and says, "Oh, I was going to play. I was never going to miss it." So why didn't you keep him this year? See what happens, and then you trade him at the draft. Then you get 3 first-rounders, a second-rounder, and maybe a player. I totally agree with you on that. I'm just saying, every time they haven't made it isn't always on the GM, just like it isn't always on the quarterback or that. It's just that happens in sports, and that's all I'm saying.
That's part of me wants to say that's fine, but you can't say that for 30-something years. At some point, you have to blame the one common factor that's wrong with that.
Okay, so would you say that if Jerry Jones was like the Ford family and he had hands off and they're just always cycling through GMs every 5 years and they're still having that same issue and they're not, are you blaming the owner then too, or is it because he's hands on?
I think with the Ford family, the issue might just be that they're too hands off. That could be the problem. I'm just saying, every one of them is different. Like the Cowboys, I think the Jones family is just too hands on. And I think there needs to be an actual general manager that makes the final decision. Jerry wants to be like I told you in my example. The documentary makes it seem like he's very brave for taking all the crap for any bad decision that's been made, but in reality, it's just bad decisions, and it's just affecting the franchise for multiple years. And I don't really think that, as much as I respect Jerry Jones, I just think there needs to be a different voice, like with the Chiefs.
Okay. I do want to step in right there because that's one of the biggest, and I don't care what the doc says. I'm going off of what people in the room have talked about. One of the biggest misconceptions about Jerry Jones is he's like, I'm making the decision. When actually one of the most negatives about Jerry Jones is he tends to listen to everybody, and the last one, that's who he goes. Just like Taco Charlton. That was Rod Marinelli. That's my guy. That's my guy. Other people were saying, we don't think so. But Rod Marinelli's like, no, that's my guy. I'm going to make, he's what I need. I think Jerry's the exact opposite. I would rather, right or wrong, I'd rather be Al Davis, where Al Davis goes, I'm making this decision, nobody else, and be wrong, instead of, oh, nice option. I love the option. Gibbs is just, damn, he's fun to watch. Remember, Detroit got trashed for drafting him so high. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, because at that point, you don't draft running backs.
When they already had Montgomery, everything was, why do you do that?
I think that was Jameson Williams. Was that Jameson Williams? I thought it looked like it was number 1. I thought it was Jameson.
I thought it was St. Brown that optioned it to Gibbs. Did he not?
Probably. I thought I saw the number 1 for the Lions, which is Jameson Williams, but it probably wasn't.
But anyway, I'm just saying, I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is that Jerry's making all these. I mean, Will McClay runs things. If you want to call him, I think he's the president of football, but Will McClay is the de facto general manager.
And probably so, and I would love for him to just have the title, but again, the final say will come from Jerry.
But I mean, how? Okay, so
he can take all the advice, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the general manager that makes the final decision.
Do you really
with the
feel
Cowboys,
that way?
It's the same person as the owner.
Do you really feel that way in other teams, though? I mean, at the end of the day, the owner signs off on things, whether they're hands on or hands off. Like, even if an owner says, okay, general manager, you make the decision, the general manager is still going to go to the owner on draft and say, okay, this is what we're doing.
Howie Roseman, Eagles. I think he has final say.
Oh, I don't. I think he has a huge say, but I mean, I think their owner still at least wants to be in on it. Jeffrey, and it's still Jeffrey. I could be wrong.
I think he wants to be informed. But I think Howie Roseman has the.
I might be wrong.
I think it's Jeffrey Lurie.
I think it's Jeffrey Lurie, right? Because he's always in there with Bradley Cooper. I hate Bradley Cooper. I mean, I like you every other day but Sunday. Actually, his Uber Eats commercials are freaking hilarious. Where he's talking about like the NFL season should be about the Eagles, and he's got this helmet, and all the people are like, "What are you doing in here?" I'm just saying, I think the Jerry Jones thing is fascinating. And my dad says if Jerry Jones was a hands-off owner, then the Cowboys would be just another football team. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all.
The Cowboys are the most valuable franchise in all of sports because of Jerry Jones. I'm not going to knock him for the business acumen. I'm knocking him for the football. That's it. And the football for the last 30 years. That's really all I'm.
And I think you're very fair on a lot of that. I'm not saying he's perfect or even good, or I just think that there are times when he has done everything he could, put together a roster that wins, and they don't win. There's 1,000 other fingers you can point to instead of the owner. Again, that's the same thing we talk about blaming Romo for every playoff loss, or Dak, or any quarterback. When okay, look at the whole game,
I agree with that part. But what I'm saying is, it takes more than just players. It takes coaching. It takes scouting. It takes trainers. Think of the Eagles. Top to bottom, I don't see a blemish. Chiefs, top to bottom, I don't see really many blemishes. It takes a lot more than just players to win a Super Bowl. And I feel that some years they get it right in some aspects, and some years, or in those same years, other areas are deficient. They just never in one season can have just a complete team.
Well, I mean, again, it's a salary cap. How many teams do? And you talk about the Eagles. I mean, they do. I mean, look, Jalen Hurts looked good yesterday and has looked good in Super Bowls, but he's also looked terrible. And, they collapsed 2 years ago because the passing game went dead. They bring in Kellen Moore. Like you said, they tweak things. He runs them great. This year, we'll see. I still think they're going to be fine. But, I mean, basically, Jalen Hurts has had one good game this year throwing the ball.
Yeah, I still that could be a coordinator issue for all I know. But maybe with Patulu as offensive coordinator, they should just run the ball more. Right now, was it 6 games, 7 games? The Eagles have no identity as far as running the ball. They look better passing the ball, but again, there's been times where they were pass heavy and they lost. I think to the Broncos, that was the case.
It's weird their running game has struggled this year.
It's really weird because they still have 4 of the 5 offensive linemen.
Bucky looks healthy.
They all look healthy. I know Dickinson got hurt, I think, in the Cowboy game.
And he's still. I think he's played a couple games and then missed the game. I think he's one of those that he's kind of been walking wounded. Mario Scott brings up an example of what we were talking about, where the owner has hands off. The Titans are an example, even though she puts football people in charge and they fuck up, but she is blamed by everyone. Okay, now, I'm not trying to get into social demographics, but is that because she's a woman? Is that because, that's why? Just if she wasn't a woman, would she take crap?
That's a good point, because right now the Colts are 6-1 and they're run by one of the Ursay
who puts a coaching headset on, and I think that's brilliant. I like her reasoning. How can I understand what's going on if I don't know what's going on in the moment? I think that's brilliant, and also she grew up around football. I'm not saying the Titans, the Adams lady did it. I'm just making that point. Look at the Maras. The Giants. Man, for 20 years they did shit. And then they got good in 86 and they won a Super Bowl. Then they won another Super Bowl. And then they kind of went to, up and down cycle. Made I still think if Dallas, I still think as good as San Francisco was, I still think the winner of the Giants-Cowboy game in Meadowlands at the end of the 93 season, that was your Super Bowl team. I think the Giants would have beat San Francisco that year too, because San Francisco just didn't have a physicality that the Giants and the Cowboys did. And I know the Niners destroyed the Giants in the playoffs, but that was in San Francisco. Put that game in New York at 20 degrees on, anyway, my point is, then they do nothing, and then they win 2 improbable Super Bowls, and then since then they have been the worst franchise. So how much credit, blame that's where it's fascinating when you have a one person own/run something for so long. It's fascinating to where it's their fault, it's not their fault, it's their philosophy, all that kind of stuff.
It's just the way it is. I mean, like with the Hunt family, they've been owning the Chiefs since forever, over 7 years, but they had younger versions, like younger family run the team, and you've seen different variations of success. Um, just having a different voice in there really helps because the game has changed over the last years, and right now it changes every 10 to 15 years. So you kind of need a new voice in there running the football operations. But it's to me the Jones family forever. So I'm accepting the fact that I'll always be a Cowboys fan, and I'll never see another Super Bowl.
Oh,
I'm okay with
I don't
that.
believe that at all. I don't.
I'm okay with it. I'm
Hey,
okay with
Steve.
it.
Yeah,
I'm okay. I'm okay
you
with
just
it.
brought up a team in the Chiefs that had won in '69, and then they didn't sniff another one. I'm like 70.
Years.
Huh?
Yeah, 69 season, and then they won in the 2019 season.
I mean,
So there was a 50-year window
same
there.
family. So again, I don't think that. I'm not saying that Dallas will win one, but I also would be very shocked if they don't win one. I still contend that every team but Cleveland will eventually win a Super Bowl.
Even the Lions?
I mean, Lions, as we're talking about, I mean, they should be NFC favorites, right? Prohibitive, especially with how crazy the NFC is, at least early. And again, these things sometimes round in the form. Like you said, by the end of the year, we might have the Eagles and the Lions both on 9-game winning streaks, and they haven't lost. And San Francisco's either miraculously stayed around. You know who they remind me of? The Quincy Carter, Bill Parcells Cowboys. Every week they win, and you go, how the hell did they do that? And then they're going to get their doors beat off by a team, and then they'll win 3 more. And you just go, I don't get this, because I watched that game last night, and Atlanta did everything right except for score and stop the midget man, as you called him.
I did not call McCaffrey that.
Called him a little one.
I might have said that.
Oh. Oh, that's you better pick it up.
So it still was 21-9 still. Okay. Yeah, Lions are still up.
That was a fun discussion. I love talking Jerry Jones with you.
It's so divisive because, again, I talk about him. I like him. I think he's one of the sharpest business minds still at age 83, who he just had a birthday recently. But the football part, and it really hasn't helped, especially with like the Dak signing too late, the Micah Parsons trade way too late. You and I both agree the Micah Parsons trade was fine if they got equal compensation in return.
As much as you could.
And okay, so in late August, they got as much as they could. 2 first-round picks and a Kenny Clark. That's as much as you could. But if you're going to do it, then do it in April, when you know that there's several teams that have the cap space to afford Micah Parsons. You can get that 3rd first-round pick.
Or at least a couple second rounds, 2 first and 2 seconds.
Make it worth your while, because you see what he's going to – think about the last half of this year when Jeff Hafley is going to be having figure out the best way to optimize Micah Parsons. He's playing every down. That Green Bay Packer defense, that's going to be the number 1 pick in any fantasy draft. I can see fantasy managers wanting to trade for the Packers defense at some point in this season, because they're going to start going on a roll and they're going to be very dangerous. And it's because of Micah Parsons creating more chaos and opportunities for someone like Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness. And then they got McKinney in the back and secondary. He's a ball hawk. So I could definitely see their sack and interception rates go up toward the second half of the season.
No, I totally agree with you. Now, in saying that, and yes, I know they got sacks, they let Jacoby Brissett kind of carve them up.
Hey, Jacoby Brissett has had 2 really good games back to back. One at Indy, and now against the Packers.
I think that's a first down.
It looks.
I think the need.
I don't think it's a fumble.
I don't like this. I don't like the whole process of the catch bullshit. I didn't like it in 2014. I don't like it how they've adjusted it, even though it's better. I will always go, and I know you've heard me say this a million times, what John Madden said. If it looks like a catch, it's a catch. If you ask 20 people who don't know football and say, does that look like a catch? Here are the rules. Does that look like a catch? And they say it's a catch, it should be a catch. This whole hyper instant replay, I think you're losing a little bit of the art of the game right there.
The honor of the game.
The art of the game, sorry.
Oh, the art. Okay.
Yeah, the art of the game. This,
Maybe I thought you just coined a new phrase.
honor of the game. My name's Jerry Jones. I honor this game. Honor this game by kneeling, but not really. We're gonna kneel on my time. I was gonna say something else.
So I think I'm gonna win in both of our OutDrank the Coverage leagues.
Oh, I'm losing. My season's over in those leagues. I'm actually.
You have a combined 1 win.
I'm not going to tank, but I'm going to I'm not going to purposely tank, but I hope to go last on both of them. I might as well complete the cycle, man. Just do it and be done. It's funny. I mean, I don't
need you to keep fighting though.
I will. You know me. I'm not going to quit. I've just had bad luck. Like, just whenever I have a good game, the other team has a good game. I'll be rolling good, looking like I'm going to have a big day, and then a guy will have a great first half and then not touch the ball the second half. I've had injuries, just one of those years. But look, last year I was awesome. What is y'all's take on my dad? I like Chris Collinsworth. I think he's great. Yeah, he's generic. Yeah, well, here's a guy and all that. But I like Chris Collinsworth.
I don't mind Chris Collinsworth. I don't see He always talks about somebody like they're a future Hall of Famer. I will say that, but it's within the game. He's not speaking to us necessarily. He's speaking to a broader audience. So a part of me understands that, and I love that he brings PFF into it. I love the ratings for offensive linemen. I do think we talked about this, and I like your opinion on that, where they should have for a disclaimer on how that Pro Football Focus PFF rankings work. That it's not a historical ranking; it's for this particular season.
And it's done by people that necessarily do not know football. I know at one time it was all done in India. I do know that once that got not exposed, they weren't really hiding it, but once that got out, they actually started doing ads like, if you'd like to be, trying to hire. Wait, what?
What happened? Was it a fumble? I have it on mute, so I don't know what's going on.
It must have been fourth down. We were in a big discussion. That might have been fourth down. I don't know.
No, Baker doesn't look happy, so I'm thinking something bad happened for Tampa.
Oh, you don't know at all. Yeah, they just overturned. They just gave Detroit the ball.
Okay, because I see Detroit player looking happy. I see Todd Bowles, head coach of the Buccaneers, saying some expletives. And
by the way, you're sitting in your dining room table, right?
Yeah.
You can turn your TV on a little bit. It wouldn't pick up too bad I don't think it pick up at all with your mic. But anyway,
I have you to tell me what's going on, sir. I don't care.
Knee hit the ground before passing the first down. That must have been fourth down. I didn't realize it was fourth down.
Just not their day.
Todd Bowles is not happy.
Yep.
To me, it looked like it touched the red. Like I thought it was like the end zone. By the way, that's one rule I wish they'd change. I think the ball should have to cross the end zone. I do not like this. It touches the white line. It's a touchdown.
Well, where is the ball going to be placed? On the white line? Is that the 0 yard line?
Well, no. I mean, if you get at the one, if you get tackled there, it's just you're at the 1. That looks like to me a first down.
Snap the ball. Snap the ball.
Now, to be fair, I don't even feel like hitting it. If they use the chip, then okay, that's fine. If they measured it, with the chip and it's short, then it's short. It just looked by the eye like he at least touched where the red was. I think it's important if Detroit wins this game for it to be like this, where their defense steps up and makes some plays, because I still think that's the biggest question for Detroit in the playoffs against more explosive offenses.
So I was going to ask you a question, and that question was going to be, who needs this win more? Would it be Tampa or would it be Detroit?
Detroit. The Buccaneers are 5-1. They'd be 5-2. Again, let's go back to the standings. And I mean, it hurts as far as like conference and stuff, but I mean, the Buccaneers would be 5-2. The next best team is the Panthers, 4-3. You're not worried about them. The Lions are in a literal fight in their division because, I mean, you and I both could see the Vikings, whether it be with JJ, they very well, or they trade, you could see the Vikings going on an 8-game winning streak easily. So Detroit, and this is where it gets tough when you're in a good division or a good division. You've got to be on point because their next game's the Vikings, the Commanders, the Eagles, and then the Giants and the Packers, and then the Cowboys and the Rams. I mean, shit. The Lions have a tough finish. I guess technically, basically every team in the NFL that's sniffing the playoffs will have what will be considered a tough finish.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a jumbled finish at the end. I mean, just looking at the standings now through 6 games, it's all kind of really jumbled. I mean, you have your bad teams with Tennessee, the Jets. I'm not going to put Baltimore in that category. The Dolphins. Let's see who else. Oh, the Saints, but they're pretty competitive in most of their games. So yeah, there's a lot of parity right now. So I'm actually kind of I kind of like it because 4 years ago this happened. The Titans had the number 1 seed, but there were 12-5, and then everybody else is 11-6, 10-7. I kind of want that for both conferences. Because it kind of reminded me like the '89 AFC where it was 11-5 Denver, but then 9-6-1 Cleveland. That was the 2 seed. You know, it's kind of like that pair. Like everybody's pretty good, but not so much better than the other.
Well, let's bring up a team that's like that, and that's the Buffalo Bills, who I swear to God, and I know every team, but I swear to God, the Bills are classic of they'll start hot and then they'll have a low point. We're all going to start questioning them, but it does feel a little different this year because the defense is shaky, and all of a sudden they're a really beat up team. I'm going to go back to, we talk about like who's at fault and all, but the pressure, some reason, got lifted off Sean McDermott, and I don't know why, because I still think he's the biggest thing holding the Bills back.
He might be. That is a good point. I mean, he was also a guy that put in my coaching hot seat going into the season. At some point, a franchise can't be satisfied with getting to the AFC title game multiple years, but not reaching the Super Bowl. If you feel like this is the James Franklin debate. If you feel your team has reached their plateau, reached their ceiling with this coach, and you feel like the talent is good enough to go further, then you got to make a change while you're still in your prime.
But you also have to go that you got to, and The Athletic did a great article on that about James Franklin. And I know I always reference it, but it's because they literally said it in the press conference. But Major Applewhite at Houston, they felt that he had reached the furthest point. They even said it in the press conference. We appreciate you getting us where you're at, but we don't think you can get us any further. And so they made a change, and they have absolutely plummeted. And so that's why it's not as easy as it sounds. And I'm not saying you're saying that, but like when Mac Brown wasn't getting to the Big 12 championship games, or you just fire him and find somebody else. That's not a guarantee every time. That's why it's really hard to make that decision. It's saying that I think Penn State made the right decision because cracks were already starting to happen even before the losses. I think the pressure was I think James Franklin's a good coach. I think James Franklin can win a national championship. I just don't think he could do it at Penn State.
If Ryan Day can win a championship, then James Franklin can as well.
James Franklin really good at Florida.
He's a great recruiter. So the talent that they're lacking at Florida, you bring in a Hugh Freeze or a James Franklin, they can get the talent to come back to Florida. Those same players that leave the state to go elsewhere. Yeah, I could definitely see him turning that program around quickly.
And Franklin knows the SEC. I mean, again, was at Vanderbilt.
Former Commodore head coach, yeah. The Fighting Diegos.
Speaking of, didn't Derek Mason coach them for a while and was terrible?
Yeah, not who I have said earlier in this podcast is a future Hall of Famer, but another Derek Mason, yeah.
No, I thought that was the Derek Mason.
No, it's a different Derek Mason. I had to look that one up. It's not the same guy.
Oh, wow. I always thought it was the former wide receiver. So let's say I'm trying to think of Oklahoma State. Where does Oklahoma State go?
Someone that embraces NIL, unlike someone that doesn't have a mullet, and someone that embraces.
I love that
name, image, and likeness. That is it, because they have the money. They have the T. Boone Pickett's money. I think they can have a quick turnaround. They're in a winnable conference. I'm not sure who they go with, but it's going to be someone along those lines.
No, I got you totally. Yeah, I don't know, man. I kind of feel. I mean, I agree with you on that part. 100% agree with you on that part. I just think that they might be a tier two type coaching stop. They might need to go with the young wonderkin type, a Jeff Traylor, a GJ Kinney, who's either coaching at a lower level school or a hot and up and coming offensive or defensive coordinator.
That'd be a great opportunity for Kenny or Trailer because they're going to go into a university with a lot of money, a lot of expectations. So there'll be pressure, but they have Texas ties. They can recruit some Texas talent to come up to Stillwater. There's probably going to be a lot of money there at Oklahoma State, and I think they'll embrace the concept of name, image, and likeness. And I think that's the one university out of all that could have the quickest turnaround.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that's why, well, of course, both of them also have ties to Arkansas. Jeff Traylor was the offensive coordinator when Chad Morris was there. GJ Kinney actually began his coaching career as a consultant for those. Now, if y'all don't know the connection, GJ Kinney was Jeff Traylor's high school quarterback when Jeff Traylor was at Gilmer. He was also at Canton. GJ Kinney's rookie freshman year in high school, I was doing play-by-play for Canton, so I got to know that family really well. Of course, his dad was infamously shot in the field house at Canton High School, and then after that, he moved to Gilmer and had a great career there, but they got upset in the first round. One of the greatest teams of all time, they got upset in the first round. It was a crazy story. But anyway, him and Traylor have a connection together, and so I think one of them ends up at Arkansas for sure. If they want it. Now, they might not want it. I don't see why they wouldn't. I think one of them ends up at Arkansas.
Do you think it'll happen next year, or do you think Arkansas is going to give Bobby Petrino yet another chance?
No, he's the interim coach. They're not. If they name
that was the most confident answer I've ever heard you say in my life.
No, I don't. I know that was a thing going around. And I guess, yeah, there's some point. I mean, if they were to beat A&M and then they win 7 in a row, maybe. But I don't think so. I think that would be a very Arkansas move to make.
That's why I think he's going to be the head coach next season.
Well, if they do, then I can't. Like, Arkansas, that's on you at this point. Like, that's just dumb. Like, that is just that would be just the absolute. I don't even understand why he was back on staff, and I especially don't understand why he was named interim coach. But if I'm them, I'm going Jeff Traylor. The dude grew up and coached his whole life in East Texas. If you know anything about Arkansas, one of their biggest recruiting grounds is Northeast Texas. Texarkana down to Tyler, they get fertile players there. And that's when Arkansas was great.
Did you say fertile players?
Yeah, fertile players. I was hoping you get the joke there. They give babies. But whenever Arkansas recruits that area heavily, Arkansas is a good team. And they've got to get back to that. And a Jeff Traylor and a GJ Kinney to an extent. But I mean, GJ Kinney wasn't from East Texas. His dad, he was born in actually, I don't know where he was, but I think he was born in Mesquite. Because his dad was a defensive coordinator for Mesquite when they won a state championship in 2000, I think it was. 2001, something like that. And then they moved east.
It was 2001.
Yeah, I think it was 2001. It was when there was a rainy day.
I was a senior in high school when they won.
Yeah, them in Louisville won like back-to-back years. Man, fighting Farmers back then was so fun to watch with that option. But Jeff grew up in Gilmer. Jeff coached all over East Texas. Jeff has recruited East Texas heavily. In fact, their quarterback right now is from Rusk, Texas, which is a very East Texas town. So I just think he would do well at Arkansas. Now, the problem that might hurt him is UTSA is taking a step back. So maybe some people think that shine's gone. But when you're at a small college, you're going to have down years. Man, Buccaneers are just getting players. The Buccaneers are one of those teams that feels like they have 20 guys hurt at all times. Maybe everybody's like that now with salary cap and roster limits. It just feels like certain teams have it worse.
Yeah, this year, I mean, but them and the 49ers, they've overcome a lot of these injuries for some really good starts to begin the season. Tampa's 5-1, 49ers 5-2.
Okay, this is a great one. Okay, let's do this. All right, we got I mean, we don't have to leave at 8, but I want to wrap it up here in a few, not few, but here in a little bit. But let's do this, okay? We're going to play trust or not trust, okay? Now, when trust or not trust, I'm going to give them to you, and then it can be trust that they're bad or good. So and I'm not going to name every team, but I'm going to go off some of the teams that are having good years, bad years that we're surprised by. Trust or not trust the Patriots at 5-2.
Not trust.
You think that they're going to fall, or not fall, but you don't think they're this good?
No, I don't think they're as good. They're benefiting from the schedule, and they're benefiting from health. And at some point, especially with how aggressive Drake May has been, as much as I like him, if he doesn't protect himself more, I think if he gets injured, there goes their whole season. And as much as people talk about Baker Mayfield being the front runner for MVP this season, there should be a case for Drake May because he is supremely important to the Patriots' success in 2025.
I totally agree with you there. I do trust them, though. I think that roster is way better than what people realize. I think we even talked about this last year, that they were one of those that's got a pretty solid roster. They were just a quarterback and a coaching staff away from being good. And as much as I always felt that Mike Vrabel, I don't want to say overrated, I just didn't think he was as good. I think the Titans had a magical year that year. I do admit that Mike Vrabel as the Patriots head coach, that just fits. Like it, I wanted it to fit for Jared Mayo. It didn't. It fits for Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, again, it fits for Mike Vrabel. They had $100 million in salary cap to spend. They spent it, especially like Milton Williams, Garrett Bradbury on the offensive side. They drafted well, and they got Stephon Diggs. They added pieces that would make them a much better team than they were last year. I feel bad for Mayo, but he just, they got Vrabel. They got the guy they really wanted. And right now, they'll probably be 7-2 because they have a pretty favorable schedule the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. And I liked Mayo, and I wanted to be the first, like, oh, that's not fair. But then when lifelong Patriot guys who loved Mayo was like, yeah, he wasn't a coach. Like he didn't know what to do. It was simple day-to-day things that coaches have to, coaches that, if you're going to be a great coach, you at least have to do this. And he wasn't doing it. All right. Trust or not trust the Bengals being a playoff contender?
Don't trust that defense. I just can't trust it. I like Flacco for a few games, but I can't see him consistently doing this until December whenever Joe Burrow gets healthy. I think if the Bengals are around 500 around that time, I think they'll still be in contention for the AFC North. And if so, Joe Burrow will be back, and then I might change my mind. But as of right now, I don't see Flacco being consistent enough to keep the Bengals in contention.
I'm gonna connect this with the next one. Ravens, do you trust that they're as bad as they are? Because I think these two teams, one fills the vacuum for the other. So if the Ravens continue to be bad, I think the Bengals fill that vacuum. They play a favorable schedule. The weirdest thing is, I think everybody in their mind thinks that the Bengals are like 1-5. They're 3-4. Like the Burrow game, they got hurt. They beat Jacksonville. So they're 3-4. So if the Ravens continue to not be good, I think the Bengals fill that void. And I think the Bengals are a playoff contender. Do they make the playoffs? I don't know. So do you think the Ravens, once they get healthy as they can they find that winning streak again?
I think they can find that winning streak again. I know their defense is not that good, but I think their offense will be good enough to win games.
I totally agree with that. Again, I think those two are the teams that if the Ravens become the Ravens, because they still have to, them and the Bengals still play each other twice, and that's why I say that. So that's going to be such like important games between those two. All right, let me go. We've already talked Colts. We've already talked Jack. Okay, Texans 2-3. Which Texans is the real team? The one that's made the playoffs the last 2 years and not got past the divisional round, or this team, or a combo of both?
I think it might be a combo of both. I love their defense, but I just can't trust their offense right now. They didn't really provide much pass protection to protect C.J. Stroud, their number 2 overall pick, a guy they're going to have to eventually pay a lot of money. And you know what I say? If you're going to pay someone all that money, why don't you protect them? Mm-hmm. And they're not really doing a good job of that. That's mainly the real reason why they are struggling on offense. It wasn't Bobby Slowick. It was just a bad offensive line. And they traded Laramie Tunsil. Maybe he wasn't as good as what people you and I thought he was. But they just need more players. They need players along the line. I think if they just get line help, I think they'll be a legit top 4 team in the AFC.
Dude, that defense is special. That defense could be really special. And I think maybe that might be the only thing that keeps Ryan's job if they end up falling apart this year, is you can say, well, it's not the Eagles, but then you also have to go, okay, but you're the one that fired the offensive coordinator and said y'all needed to change, and nothing's really changed. So anyway.
That's true. And Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, one of the best secondaries when they're all healthy. It's really hard to beat Houston's defense.
All right, let's go to, and we're not doing the obvious ones. We all know Jaguars suck. Let's go to the Chargers, 4-3. I don't think they make that. I think they're about to fall far out of playoff contention. Not all of it.
When healthy, that's a team that can win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go that far. They're a team that can make the playoffs. I mean, they've done nothing in the playoffs to show that they can win the Super Bowl yet. I mean, they really haven't.
Fine. It's a prove it thing. Okay, I get it. But they lost Rashawn Slater before the season.
Yeah.
Joe Alt got hurt during the season.
Yeah, is Joe Alt out for the year?
I'm not sure. But to continue, though, Amari Hampton got hurt. Najee Harris is out for the season. A lot of the guys they were brought in or they drafted that they were expecting to contribute this season have gotten hurt. I get why they're not going to do well this season.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
When healthy, that is a well-constructed Jim Harbaugh roster.
Joe Alt is at limited practice this week. He's basically week to week going forward. I give you a hard time. I'm not saying Harbaugh's overrated because Harbaugh's proven it at the NFL and the college level, but I still go back to, I don't think Justin Herbert's the type of quarterback for him. Again, the playoffs, in my opinion, prove that. And I like Herbert, and I don't like to do the whole blame game, but I guess maybe just being a Cowboy fan and seeing when a Cowboy quarterback has a way better game than Herbert did in the last playoff and gets raked, and nobody wants to bring up that Justin Herbert was absolute trash in the playoff game. He collapsed. I mean, there's no other way around it. And I still don't think Harbaugh likes him, but I agree with you. The roster in of itself, it's good, but aren't they kind of starting to be like San Francisco? Everybody's always hurt.
Yeah, everybody's always hurt, but to what's his name's Kyle Shanahan's credit, even when they're hurt, they still find ways to win most of the years.
I still feel like this year, I'm like you, man. Let's go into Niners, real or not. I don't think so. Not in the present construction. Now, if they get 100% healthy, then holy crap, look out, because, there was a lot of questions about this team just talent-wise. They've lost a lot of depth. They've lost a lot of guys through free agency and some trade bust. And I know they're not going to get Warner back, but I mean, I don't know, maybe is it time to have the discussion do you start Brock Purdy when he comes back? I mean, Mac Jones is a hot hand right now.
I think you give Brock Purdy, especially when the 49ers are 5-2, give Brock Purdy as many weeks as he needs to get healthy, because he is the guy you paid a lot of money, so you definitely want to start him. But there's also the other argument to go with the hot hand. I get that. But when the 49ers are healthy, they are one of the top 10 teams or top 5 teams in the NFL. I don't think they can continue this run as they're constructed right now, especially if Ayuk doesn't come back the same. Because at some point, I just told you, if they could just gear up on Christian McCaffrey, the leading receiver and running back on the team, that's the San Francisco offense. I don't see the 49ers doing much. Mac Jones to Kendrick Bourne, yeah, that's cute. But I don't see that being long-lasting.
So I shouldn't have traded 5 players for Kendrick Bourne? Damn it.
Probably could have consulted me there, buddy.
By the way, Baker Mayfield tonight, he's not having the interceptions. I mean, he has one, but this is the Baker Mayfield game that he does every few games, where he has missed wide open targets.
Yeah, he's due for one every so often. It just hasn't happened really yet this season, so now that we're seeing it, and he's been getting the Heisman love, the MVP love so far.
Well, now, Noe, to be fair,
isn't it okay to admit that all quarterbacks have these games? Like, we want to pretend that, Tom Brady every game was 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, or that Peyton Manning threw for 400 yards. But then we get a player like Baker Mayfield, who's a fringe superstar, and we want to go like, oh, he's good, but he's going to have a couple games a year where he's not. I mean, every quarterback's like that. It's weird how that needs to be an off-season show. The weirdness of that's a flag. The weirdness of how the NFL, writers, media, sports fans, all of us judge and grade quarterbacks.
Yeah, and because everything is brought to us pretty quickly, the judgment is instant, like week to week. So you're either gold Hall of Famer one week or you're trash the next week.
Oh, dude, again, sitting there reading some posts on some of these football pages. Again, I'm on so many football pages to promote our show. And dude, we still got 2,000 people watching, so we appreciate all of y'all being with us tonight. It's weird to me, like people were just posting like, man, Dak Prescott yesterday was, but he's still not going to make the playoffs. It's like nobody was talking about the playoffs. We don't, and I know I say this all the time, we just don't embrace performances and the art of the game anymore. It's all about analytics. If you win, you're great. If you lose, you suck no matter what. Jalen Hurts is great because he won a Super Bowl. Okay, Jalen Hurts is a really good quarterback, but that him winning a Super Bowl doesn't put him higher in the rankings for me as a quarterback. That's a winning Super Bowls and not winning Super Bowls. That's the end of the career Hall of Fame discussion, not where you rank as a quarterback right now. In 2025, Jalen Hurts is not a great quarterback simply because they won a Super Bowl last year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I don't credit a quarterback for solely being the reason they win a Super Bowl. I don't. Oh, wait. Was it a catch? Oh, it wasn't a catch. Okay.
Are you ahead of me?
I guess so. There was a throw in the end zone.
Oh. Yeah, Mayfield's missed now 2 wide open guys.
Yeah.
Mario says quarterback is the worst evaluated, developed, and drafted position.
Can't disagree with that one.
Dude, that's a great comment. Hey, Mario, what are you doing next week? Noah's going to be out of town.
Wow.
Want to fly in?
Wow.
No, that's a great point, and it's funny because it's the what we consider and what's been considered the most important. Maybe that's why it is the worst, is because there's so many things in it that you can't. I mean, look, arm strength, all that's great, but you've got to have that ability to just, well, like Matt Baker, have a bad game tonight, bounce back, and still find a way, whether it be this game or the next game.
Yeah, overall, he's going to have a fine season. It's just.
Do you kick a field goal here?
No, you probably should go ahead and go for the touchdown because it's kind of late in the game.
Yeah.
But it's fourth quarter, 4.5 minutes left. Yeah.
You'd still need 2 scores.
Still need 2 scores. Yeah, you're going to have to. Field goal is not going to cut it. You got to get a touchdown. You either live on this hill or die on it. I think that's the phrase.
Dan Campbell and his 400 cups of coffee. You might not have to worry about what happens to him when his heart explodes. As much coffee as that. Have you heard about that?
No, I have not.
Oh yeah, Dan Campbell famously is 1,000 grams or milligrams of. Oh, that's a terrible throw. Yeah. He's famously always got a 64-ounce coffee in his hand.
I never known that. I mean, I drink coffee, but I don't think I drink that much.
I like certain types of coffee, but it has to be. If it's past a certain time of day. Oh, I'm sorry. Here it is. Dan Campbell is known for his intense coffee habit, which consists of 2 venti Pike Place medium roast coffees with 2 shots in an espresso in each, often called a black eye. This comes out to 1,080 milligrams of caffeine a day, which is 5 times the considered limit. Wow, dude. Okay, now I'm a bigger fan.
No,
I have a Dan Campbell for you.
I think I do about 12 to 16 ounces a day. I just kind of have little 4-ounce cups of them throughout the day, and then I stop around lunchtime.
I have if I have one, it's got to be within the first couple hours I wake up. Right now, Dutch Brothers is where I go. I don't like hot drinks. I don't drink hot coffee. I like Dutch Brothers. I just get their iced mocha because it's chocolate milk basically with 2 shots of espresso. That's right
up your alley, dude.
Exactly.
Chocolate milk. You just add some caffeine to it. Yeah, that's perfect. And me, I just do black. I don't do sugar. I don't do sugar or cream.
What's wrong with the whites?
Not healthy for you.
No, I do. Well, for Black, that's true for like 500 years or so. So you're not wrong there. Oh, let's finish out the show with this. It's opening week of the NBA. We got the Spurs and the Mavericks. I love that. Wednesday night. This feels like this is supposed to be the year the Spurs finally take that step forward. And they've had, 4 of the last 5 top 5 picks. They've drafted masterfully. I really thought last year they would take that step, and they kind of didn't. And in the Mavs, I was reading the NBA preview this week on ESPN, and they said it best. If the Mavs miss the playoffs, nobody would be surprised. If the Mavs are the number 2 or 3 seed, nobody would be surprised. It's all going to come down to injuries and the development of Cooper Flag.
I 100% agree with that. I think another factor is if Kyrie returns early enough and he can develop a rapport with Cooper Flag. I think Anthony Davis, if he plays 670 games, I think that'll be to the Cowboys, the Mavericks' favor. So yeah, I mean, if there's the health is not an issue, I think the Mavericks could get to close to about 50 wins in a playoff spot.
I think they make the playoffs, and it's kind of funny because the Mavs are bucking the trend. They're going to have the deepest, best front court in basketball in a time when supposedly that doesn't matter. But if you start using, we never discussed the Southpaw Crows. Well, let's see. In dodgeball, they didn't want to play the championship, and in baseball, they really never played. And then Stan had the bad knees, or no, it was Kyle had the bad knees for basketball. Do we really want to go into Southpaw or Cartman's recruitment of an athlete? They've never really done a true football centric, other than Cartman's parent or dad being the the Denver 1995 Denver Broncos, or the father of Cartman. But no, I think the Mavericks. You and I said this before the first round pick. I think Dallas Mavericks 5 years from now are going to be a better team because they traded Luka.
Yeah, and it's just funny because it kind of mirrors the Micah Parsons thing, because I still don't think the Mavericks got equal value in that trade for Luka.
No, they didn't.
But yeah, if you can replace Luka with 3 All-Stars or 3 starters, then I would be happy with it. I'm still hate that Luka's gone, but
I do too.
The fact that Luka's in the best shape of his life for the first time after he's been criticized for not being in shape, it kind of leans toward that Nico was kind of right about
exactly.
Luka.
Dude, I 100% believe that. And you and I said that in the moment. We even said the night of, like, okay, watch. He's now going to get in the greatest shape of his life. And you're going to be like, okay, why didn't you do that last year? Why didn't you do that 2 years ago? I mean, especially you're coming off of an improbable finals run. You've got most of that team back. So why wouldn't you come in the greatest shape of your life being like, we're getting it this time. This will be the year that we do it. And he didn't. And that always frustrated me. And it frustrates me more now to see that he could do it. Like, okay.
It kind of shows you what his true motivation is. It has nothing to do with like team success. It's just like someone crossed him, so he's now gonna prove them wrong. It almost comes across kind of petty. I hope I'm wrong, but it just comes across kind of just little like what his motivations are.
All right, let's watch the last couple minutes of this game, and then we'll close out the show. Sorry, Houston Texans. We're not going to break down the Texans and Seahawks for the next 5 hours.
Blame the NFL scheduling. It is not our fault.
Well, it's also because we're old, and man, if I'm awake past like 10:30, something's wrong in the world.
Yeah, right now it's 9:11 p.m.
I got lasagna to eat, and then I'm gonna go to bed.
Oh, that's your real motivation. You got to get that lasagna in before.
Yeah, I'm the Garfield of the show. Also, studio wife hit a home run with the lasagna. Holy crap!
Oh yeah, you showed me a photo of it. That looked great.
And she didn't even use Hamburger Helper or anything. You ever had Hamburger Helper, Noe?
I don't recall. I might have.
Chili mac and cheese back in the day, man. That hit so hard.
Yeah, man. The Lions pass rush is getting to Baker.
Yeah, they have been all game. They haven't had a ton of sacks, but they keep getting to him.
Yeah, which is really all that matters. Sacks. You and I talked about that. That's an overrated stat. Yep. I want the quarterback pressures, quarterback hurries. I want stats that talk about getting into the quarterback's face, redirecting their throw. That to me is more important.
I call it the Charles Haley rule.
The Charles
That's
Haley
a
rule.
trip. That's a trip.
Oh yeah, I did see the leg come. Yeah, I guess they're not gonna.
Dude, that's the third or fourth time. And again, I know the Green Bay, Tampa Bay's having wide receiver injuries. But that's the third or fourth time you've seen the Buccaneers wide receivers running into each other.
Which tells me someone doesn't know the playbook. Because usually the plays are designed to where players should not be running into each other.
Okay, so yes, you're 100% right. But let's remember one thing: we're in a different era now. So we're in an era now where it used to be you just simply came up and you said, "All right, this is Aikman to Irvin and Harper. And I'm just making up the term, but we're gonna run 50 ace, wide trip, L3, 70 on 2, go." And so Alvin Harper knew I'm running this. And Michael Irvin knew I'm running this. And Jay Novacek knew I'm running this. Well, now, because everything's an option route, and also you're doing everything predicated off reads, you don't really do that as much. You do a basic formation, and then too short. Yep. You run a basic, like, we're going to run this, but then you get to the line, and then it's all about what does the linebacker do? Was it, all that. So I understand now why wide receivers who haven't got a lot of time probably don't understand those option routes. Ooh, Baker Mayfield's doing the finger point. I don't blame him. That, for all the Lions claim how they get screwed with the calls, and I know it probably doesn't decide the game, but it keeps a drive alive. The dude tripped him. Like, that's very illegal in the NFL.
I think in all of football.
Well, it's only illegal in the NFL.
Before we end, I just want to say there's a big game in college football, and at LSU.
Oh yeah, let's go and talk. We'll finish out with NFL. I mean, A&M and LSU, and you got let's see,
Texas at Mississippi State is not going to be a cakewalk for the Longhorns.
No, I mean, with that offense, nothing's going to be a cakewalk the rest of the year. And plus, I mean, again, Mississippi State's much improved, even though they're still not a great program. They're much improved. I feel like for A&M, this is almost the worst thing that could have happened was LSU losing, because I mean, we talk about Texas, but A&M has LSU, Missouri, South Carolina, then they got Samford, and then they finished the year with Texas, of course. I'm not wanting to go against A&M because I'm a Texas fan. I think LSU wins this game, though.
I think it could be an ugly game in Death Valley, but yeah, I think LSU can actually win this one.
LSU's issue is just finding consistency at the right time, and give Vanderbilt credit. I mean, you go to that game, it wasn't like LSU spit the bit necessarily. Newsmeyer threw for 2 touchdowns. It was 7-3 after 1. It was 13-17. Vanderbilt with the lead. Vanderbilt got 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, and that's what did it. But it wasn't like LSU played, oh my God, terrible. Just give Vanderbilt credit. They played a better game.
Diego.
He ran for 86 and threw for 160.
Oh man, he'll never make it. He'll never become like a really good NFL player. But
I won't even see an NFL. Well, he'll see some. He'll be signed as an undrafted, and then
I'll be rooting for him for sure.
If LSU loses, is their coach out?
I think Brian Kelly be fine.
Well, I mean, if they lose, you're now talking about. What are you talking about? Let's see. What is their record right now? I mean, if you lose, you're 5-3 when a year that they were considered one of the favorites. I don't know if he's safe. First off, Brian Kelly's just not a well-liked man. I still don't understand why LSU hired him. Like, he's just not a guy that, in my opinion, fits in a Southeastern Conference where you need the guy to go into the room and, and charm the parents and all that.
He changed his accent a little bit when he
got remember that? Yeah.
Texas Tech, simple win in Lubbock versus Oklahoma State. Texas at Mississippi State. Will the Cowbells affect the Longhorns?
I think Texas wins that one.
Okay. Baylor at Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Cincinnati. Hey, we're talking about BYU and Texas Tech and Arizona State. Watch out for Cincinnati, man.
Yeah, they're 6-1, ranked number 21 in the country. Sawyer Robinson, though, quarterback for Baylor, he leads the country in passing yards. So it could be a shutout. Let's see. Houston 6-1 at number 24 Arizona State, coming off a big upset win versus the Red Raiders
Where's that game at?
in Tempe.
Arizona State.
Yeah,
I think it could be ugly too. I'm sorry, Houston Cougar fans. That record, they've literally played one good team, and that one good team throttled them pretty good.
And that was at home.
That was at home, and it's not. Hey, you got to start somewhere. So I'm not saying it's but yeah, you're not there yet.
North Texas, pretty simple road win at Charlotte.
Hey, give them credit for bouncing back. It'd have been really easy after losing as bad as they did in South Florida to pack it in. Hey, it was a fun run. We've seen that many times. A small college team start out 5-6-0, and then they lose that one, and they end up finishing 6-6. Great for them to be bowl eligible. I think that's so important for that program.
I agree. They're 6-1. They're going to be 7-1. SMU at Wake Forest.
Hey, SMU, the way the ACC is falling around them, SMU has played themselves back into that. That's one of those things that we could easily see SMU. I'm trying to look at the record before I say anything. They have no losses in the ACC, if I'm reading it right.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're undefeated in that.
Yeah, they're 3-0. Georgia Tech's 4-0. Virginia's 3-0. SMU's 3-0, and then Pittsburgh, Duke, and everybody else is 3-1. Miami's 1-1. So I mean, SMU, dude, all of a sudden they control their own destiny to get back to the playoffs.
Yep. Let's see here. UConn at Rice. UConn's 5-2. Rice 3-4. Who you got?
Is it in Rice?
Yeah, it's in.
Give me Rice. Give me Rice for the win. That's a tough trip for a program, that's not a great program. UConn's 5-2. They don't have any, oh my God, wins. Not that Rice does either, but just Rice being 3-4 is pretty damn impressive.
Yep. TCU, the guy I thought was a Heisman Trophy candidate, Josh Hoover. They traveled to Morgantown to play West Virginia. They're 2-5. I'm gonna go with the Mountaineers in the upset.
Is it a 10:30 in the morning game?
It's a 5 p.m. game.
TCU. If it had been in the morning game, because that's Texas Tech plays better at night. Morgantown, at least now since they've been in Big 12, you don't want to go out there at 10:30 in the morning. That's just a really rough trip, and it's really tough. Mario brings up how does Brian Kelly start keep getting jobs? I mean, he's won. You can't say Brian Kelly hasn't won. Now, has he won enough? I don't know. I think he's won enough to keep jobs. And I'm not going to pretend that, I think people need to also realize how bad LSU had gotten at the end under Ed. I know he was fun and, they won a national championship with him, but he had stopped caring. Ed Orangeon was bringing his side pieces to the stadiums and all that. So you have to give Brian Kelly some credit for rebuilding them. He's a sour man. He's just one of those guys I just wouldn't want to work with.
But again, he's had success, especially at Notre Dame. I think he was a Cincinnati head coach at one point. Yeah. He's a successful coach. He's gotten teams to the national championship game. I can't fault him for that, but I kind of agree with you. Something just seems to be off with him. I just don't like him. And that whole LSU thing where he was, what the kids say, code switching. He was changing up his accent to sound more Cajun. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Well, and the whole thing that happened at Notre Dame with the student filmer dying and him not, even if, you don't have to take responsibility, go turn yourself into the authorities, but him just blowing it off I don't know what happened, not my fault. Well, you're the guy that's running the practice. So it's 100% your fault. And so that always bothered me. But yeah, he just is one of those guys that just always looks like he feels he's aggrieved. Everybody's out to screw me. I'm sorry, hang on. Everybody out to screw me because I'm Brian Kelly. I'm from Monterey, Louisiana. Come see me and play some LSU football. All right, man. This game is over. The Lions go with the win, 24-9. They go to 5-2. The Buccaneers fall to 5-2. This definitely feels like this could be a playoff rematch.
Oh, 100% sure. It could be in Tampa, with the Tampa schedule. If they get healthy, maybe. The Lions, good win for them. Let's see how they do the rest of the season.
The Seahawks are up 7-0 on the Texans early. That's impressive. Again, this is a Texan defense that's only given up 60 points so far. Now I know
that was praising their defense. They allow a touchdown. Ugh.
Who was that? That Arn? Oh, that's who is that? It's not Kenny. What is that? Charbonnet? It might be Charbonnet.
The one who scored a touchdown
No,
was Charbonnet.
Was it Charbonnet?
It was Charbonnet. Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't tell by the number. I like him. They've got a dude. Seattle's one of those again. It's funny how they're kind of built like Minnesota was last year with Sam Darnold. They got a couple really good wide receivers. They have a couple really good running backs. They have a solid offensive line. They have a defense that's not a shutdown, but they can get you stops. And I'll say it again. I wouldn't want to go into Seattle to play a playoff game when that 12th man's rocking.
Yeah, Jackson Smith and Jigba has become the number one wide receiver they thought he would be when they drafted him.
Dude, he might be a top 3 wide receiver in the league right now.
It didn't take him long to become that guy. And Emeka Egbuka with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is fast on that way too.
Yep. All right, man. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. I appreciate everybody joining us. All the 3,000 that are still watching, go to bed. Go to bed now, folks. I'm going to go eat some lasagna and watch Houston and Seattle. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Ho-hum week during the 12 o'clock hour, but overall, I enjoyed another fantasy football weekend, and go Cowboys. And I really hope they do well against Denver next week.
All right, man. Well, until next time, he's intern Noe the Pro, the commissioner.